is the grand premiere, the launch, the big day for Disney Adventure World. It's when it's getting renamed. It's when World of Frozen and Adventure Way is officially public and available for everyone to enjoy. So I thought, in case there's a lot going on, and like live streams and stuff, thought we'll do this today so we can chat all about it. I've just come back from Disneyland Paris. I had my preview of World of Frozen and Adventure Way, so we're going to chat all about that today. I've got some questions from people, and of course, ask any questions that you have about the trip, World of Frozen, Adventure Way, Disney in general, anything you want to ask me, whatever you like. We're here to talk about it all. Hi, Jose, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining. I literally cannot believe, I'm just going to update this so I can see everyone and their lovely faces and all their questions, because on the little screen I can't see things because I'm old. That's the problem. But I literally cannot believe I got to go to a preview. I never ever thought that I would ever get to go to kind of anything as a preview, which was absolutely wild. And the fact that it only got booked 7 weeks ago is unbelievable, because it was just like, it's happening right now. And it was just absolutely amazing. The whole trip itself was incredible. I got to do some things I've never done before, not just in the expansion, but also I stayed off site for the first time, doing all of those amazing things. And it was just a very, very exciting trip. So I cannot wait for all of the vlogs to go live. Of course, we've already got the World of Frozen and Adventure Way preview video up. That went live this morning, which is so exciting. It was so great. The second I got home, I was like, right, I'm going to start uploading all the footage and editing right away, which was wonderful. And the preview itself, I was so lucky. Now, there had been 5 previews in total. I went to the final one, and I think I was super lucky. The other previews had very, very long queues. My preview, I think I was just lucky because the weather was terrible. So I think a lot of local pass holders probably thought, let's skip over this. Luckily, throughout the day, the weather did pick up a bit, but it was always really windy, really cold. But because of that, there was far fewer crowds, so you got to really experience everything on offer. Although saying that, I didn't actually do everything that is there, which I actually think is really great, because it kind of shows that, like, when you have something new, you always think, okay, right, we know there's 2 rides, there's some restaurants, there's some shows, and I kind of thought, oh, maybe you'll get to do that in one day. And the fact that I couldn't, I think, is actually fantastic, because it shows when you get to experience it, you will get to probably visit multiple times before you get to do everything, which I think is really great. So we are going to jump into all of the nitty gritty, what it is like, what I think it's going to be like in the coming months, because I do think I was so lucky. I almost feel a bit guilty that the preview went so well for me, because I know the other previews, everything had been super long, and I feel like the other previews were more realistic to what the experience might be like, purely because World of Frozen itself, absolutely stunning. It's going to be so popular and well deserved, because it's beautiful. The ride's fantastic. The dining was great. The show was amazing. However, the land itself is very compact, very small. I would say World of Frozen, the parts that you walk around in, is probably only just a bit bigger than Place du Remy, which is the Ratatouille land. So it's not very big at all, and I think that is why it's probably going to get really long queues, because they're going to have to limit the amount of people that can go in. However, I think the good news is it's here now. It's here to stay. So over forever now, we will get to visit, experience it, and it's going to be absolutely stunning. I was blown away, because we've got some great questions here. First and foremost, I have to say I'm very excited, because I got these questions from Instagram, and I have a cat that follows me, and I'm obsessed with cats, and it's Pepper the British Shorthair. And I know that Pepper's human companion is the person asking the questions, but I always like to think that it is Pepper herself. The cat's like, I've seen that, let me just type a little question. Which would be amazing. And the first question was, does it feel truly different and new? And I would say absolutely. And this is the thing, before going, I was kind of a bit worried as to what it might be like, because obviously we've waited 8 years and it's like, oh, what will happen? And obviously things like Frozen Ever After the ride, they do already have in Hong Kong and in Disney World. I've been on the version in Disney World. The Rapunzel ride is a teacups ride essentially, and I was thinking, oh gosh, is it going to feel kind of a bit basic? Is it going to feel like they didn't put much effort in because they've kind of got a ride they've already got, and then a teacup ride which is, you know, a classic, but it's just been rethemed. However, I have to say things did feel actually really, really new, and I was really surprised about that, but pleasantly surprised, because I was like, oh my gosh. I have to say Frozen Ever After the ride is significantly better than the Epcot version. I was blown away. I couldn't stop crying on the ride, and I did not expect to cry on the ride, because I was like, I've been on the ride, I know what to expect. I was just crying all the time. I couldn't stop. The difference with the animatronics is huge, and obviously where this is brand new, the Epcot version has been around a long time, so it kind of, it doesn't, I don't think it looks bad, or like there's wear and tear and stuff, but you can tell it's been around a while, whereas this is obviously fresh, it's new, and the drop is significantly bigger in this one. I was not expecting it. Properly screamed, because I was like, it's never going to stop. What's happening? Where's this drop come from? Which is so funny. And then I had to keep checking. Every person I met and I was talking to, I was like, was the drop bigger? Did you think the drop was bigger? Because I was like, I feel like I've had some sort of like hysterical reaction. But everyone agreed that the drop is bigger, which is so fun. So I was so glad that the ride itself, it was an amazing experience. Even if you've been on it before, it will still feel fresh, which is wonderful. And the queue is entirely different, which is so fun. And I think it's the sort of queue, the more times you go through it, the more details you're going to pick up. I also was speaking to a cast member, and they let me know that in the queue, there are 2 hidden Mickeys. And then in every single scene in the ride, there's hidden Mickeys. And I was like, okay, well, that's something new to look for next time, which is wonderful. Hi Tracy, thank you so much for joining. I'm so glad you loved the vlog. And it was just such a joyful day. And it's one of those things, it's also a bit chaotic, because obviously when you're experiencing everything for the first time, you like don't know the layout, you don't know what to do. And I was just like, this is very chaotic. I have a very chaotic energy. But it was such a fantastic day. It was a dream. It was such a dream. But as I said, I haven't said the video yet, but I was wondering, are there big differences in the ride when you compare it to the Epcot one, apart from the faces on the animatronic? And yes, it's weird, because I think the scenes are the same, but I think the animatronics do make such a big difference. And this just looked and felt so much fresher, which was wonderful. And like I said, the drop, it was amazing, because I was like, this is quite thrilling. I was not expecting this. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. And like I said, the queue I think is going to be really fun as well, because it's completely different. There's loads of like little hidden details that you can pick up. They will be having a normal queue, a Premier Access queue, and a single rider queue, which is great to know. However, something that has been said, and I don't know how long this will be in place for, so when World of Frozen opens tomorrow, they have said to get into World of Frozen, there will be a standby queue. Now, if you buy a Premier Access to go on the ride, that will not allow you to bypass that queue. So you need to wait until you're in the land to buy it if you want to buy it. However, if you have the virtual queue for Anna and Elsa, which I think is going to be virtually impossible to get, but if you do have that, you will be able to bypass that queue. And I think that's really interesting, because obviously Premier Access you pay for, but it won't get you into the land, whereas virtual queue is impossible to get, but it's free, and that will get you into the land. So it's very, very strange. But one thing I think is really important to note is when you go in, you will walk up Adventure Way, that road that we've seen with the lampposts on either side, and then eventually you will get to Rapunzel on one side and Regal View, and then the other side there's like a food booth. To get into World of Frozen, they're going to have an entrance and an exit. So when you first arrive, you want to go around the left-hand side towards the cranes where they are building Lion King Land, because that's going to take you to the entrance of World of Frozen. If you do go the other way, it's fine, because you can still do like a full circle to get back to the entrance, but it'd just be quicker to go to that left hand side. So be aware of that, because I went to the right hand side and I was like, oh, this is exit only. So then I scooped around and got in. But if you want to get there quick and not waste any time, definitely go to the left hand side. That will get you in much quicker. How long this queue is going to be, I don't know. I have fears about it, honestly. I was so lucky with my preview, with the weather being so bad, that far fewer people turned up. The other 4 previews, some people queued 2 hours to get in to World of Frozen itself, and the pass holder previews were limited capacity events. So I am really worried about how long this queue could be. The good news is, we always find that when something first launches, you get the crazy queues at the start, but as time goes on, it becomes much more manageable. And I do think the reason why they're going to have this queue is just because of the size of the land. So even if you're not in a queue for a ride or the shop, there's not much extra space to hold people. And stuff like the queue for the shop goes through the land itself. So if you had lots of people trying to look around, and then you've got these massive queues that are like kind of stopping people looking around, I think it would just be not fun. So I think that's what they're going to do. They kind of have a limited amount of people in there. And that is something that I found really interesting, because I was expecting, when you hear a land, you expect it to be big. Like when you think about, I know it's obviously in Disneyland Park, but somewhere like Frontierland, the size of the land itself is actually huge. And it's really interesting that they're now focusing on these like much smaller lands. Obviously we knew there was only going to be one ride, one shop, one meet and greet, a restaurant. So we knew that it wasn't going to have loads of things in it, but it was funny how small it is. It's like a nice little compact. The thing that's good is it does feel like a real place because of that. And this is something that I said, which I think is kind of controversial, but it feels like a Disney World level land. And I feel like in Disneyland Paris, sometimes it doesn't get the same amount of money and finances, so things can sometimes not be up to that standard. However, I do feel like this felt like, oh my god, this could be in Disney World and it would fit right in. And even stuff like the show that I got to see, which is called A Celebration in Arendelle, it felt like a Disney World level of land. What I think is really interesting is I think there's going to be such a stark contrast between like Adventure Way and World of Frozen to the rest of the park. Because obviously the rest of the park's about 30 years old. So you can't obviously compare something that's been around for 30 years, which is naturally going to be kind of dated. We know that this park has had an identity crisis, and they are trying to fix that by kind of like, we'll have all the Pixar stuff in one area. You know, we've got Avengers over here. But I do feel like there is a big difference between this is definitely the new part and this is the old part. And it is interesting actually, because once you're in Adventure Way, you can see into Toy Story Land, you can see into Cars Land, and from tomorrow onwards you will be able to walk into those places from there, which will be interesting. So it kind of will make more sense of how this is going to fit in. But I think there's definitely a stark contrast between this is clearly very new and it looks luxe. It looks really, really, really nice. Let's have a look. Interesting, they said, Sam God said the same thing about the size of World Frozen. Yeah, it's really interesting that it is so tiny. Like I say, it's probably only slightly bigger than the Ratatouille land in Disneyland Paris. So it's tiny, tiny. Hi Karen, lovely to see you. How are you? You've said I haven't had a chance to watch the latest vlog, but just wanted to pop on and say thanks for all the content you bring. You're always very honest with your views. Thank you so much. And that's the thing, isn't it? You kind of always want to make sure that you're giving people the real information. And I always try to approach it. If I've had like a bad experience, but it could be down to, you know, a technical error or someone having a bad day, I always try and mention that, because if I've had a bad experience, doesn't mean everyone will. But if there's something that like isn't quite meeting the mark, or you just think, what are they doing? What's happening here? I think again, Disney are not exempt from criticism when necessary. And I think this is what's really interesting. Like leading up to this trip, I was getting quite nervous because obviously the first 4 previews had a lot of issues. There were a lot of queues. The ride kept breaking down. We found out that roaming Olaf is a mirage, is an illusion. The public aren't going to get to see him. I had a reservation for Regal View Restaurant. 3 days before my trip, they cancelled my reservation because I was a solo diner, and they said, we want tables of 2. We don't want 1 people here. So there was like all of these things going on. I was just thinking maybe this was a mistake going to this, because obviously the pass holder previews, everyone pays to go. So although you have your annual pass, you've basically paid for your entry in advance. You're paying for your hotels, your flights, all of the extra stuff. And I was thinking, this is going to be a really expensive trip where I potentially might not get to do anything. So I was very, very lucky that the weather being terrible actually worked massively in my favour. I think the thing that I'm worried about is that when this opens to the public, I think it is going to be so busy that people are going to find that really difficult. Because obviously if you're queuing 3 hours to get into a land and then 90 minutes to get on the ride. I mean, in the previews, the shop had a 2-hour queue just to go in the shop. Luckily, I think for my preview, I waited 30 minutes. But I also did go to World of Frozen first because I knew as more people joined the preview, it would get busier and busier. So by the time I left World of Frozen, there was a queue to get in. So I do think that now it's going to be officially launched, there are going to be excessive queues. I would imagine all throughout the summer at least. And it's such a shame because it is so amazing and everyone will want to experience it. But I think just the mere size of it makes it impossible. And then what's really interesting about the expansion is it's very stark. So basically you have Adventure Way, and on one side you have a new pavilion where you're going to have a Rapunzel and Flynn show, which is fantastic. You can also see the construction of the Upride, which will be coming next year, I think. On the other side, you have Rapunzel, and then you have the Regal View restaurant. If you go to the left, towards the entrance of World of Frozen, there is a food booth, and it's also where you can see Minnie's marching band. But apart from that, it's just a long walk. There's like nothing else there. You just walk past the construction. If you go the other way, there are more food booths and like a handful of shops. You can also meet Mickey Mouse in his new little kind of it's kind of like an awning at Casey's Corner. Well, I was gonna say it didn't take 18 months, but it probably took 8 years to build. But again, apart from those handful of things, there's really nothing there. So it's very interesting that you kind of have things grouped together at the very start and over at World of Frozen, and then the in-between part is very stark. There's not much there. I would also say the downside with that is it's very exposed. So when it was raining, there's kind of no shelter. Later on, when it was super windy, it was like -3 because of the wind chill, and you're just taking all that wind. So I do think that's quite interesting. I'm assuming that over time they might add more food booths or little shops, just things to add to that part of the park, because at the moment it is kind of like a bit bare, and hopefully that might mean also they have room to do more expansions off the side, and maybe that's what they're holding the space for. So yeah, I think that's going to be really interesting. I do think it's going to be very strange to have Lion King right next to Frozen, because it's like the complete juxtaposition of Frozen, freezing cold, this is Africa, and you're like, okay, sure, we could do that. We'll make it work. We'll ignore the they're very different. And that's something I think is interesting about the Studios Park, or as we should now call it, Adventure World, compared to Disneyland Park. If you go to any of the Disneyland parks in the world, like Magic Kingdom, Disneyland, places like that, I have this like seamless transition between lands, and it's very intentionally built that way. Whereas the Studio Park is very much like, this is plonked here next to this, next to this. There isn't that like seamlessness. And what I do think is great about Adventure Way and this whole new expansion is all of the paving, the signs, the like benches, everything is exactly the same the whole way around. So even though you've got World of Frozen and then you're going to have Lion King and Adventure Way, there is cohesiveness between those three because of those elements. But it, like I say, it very much stands out compared to the rest of the Studios Park now, because it very much feels like this is new and very posh and like luxe. So I think that's going to be really, really interesting. Yes, Cherry, this is a great question. I wonder why they didn't build the Oaken sleigh ride coaster like they did in Hong Kong. And I think that would have been amazing, because like you say, even if they had 2 rides, it would help manage the queues more. And that's the thing, they've made a really, really tiny land, but I think they had space to build a bigger land. But I think it literally just comes down to budget. I just think because Disney owned Disneyland Paris, they never really put loads of money. I mean, admittedly, they have said this expansion cost $2 billion, which obviously is a huge amount. But there's not a lot there for $2 billion, which is quite interesting. I'm assuming a lot of that is because the construction took so long and obviously the pandemic held things up. But I think it would have been amazing if they had that ride, because one, it sounds super, super fun, but also it would have helped manage the crowds more because you had more places for people to go. So yeah, it's such a shame that that hasn't happened. But I don't know if in the future they would like add an extension onto it and expand it more, which would be really, really fun. Or if they will just add more land, because I feel like, because you've got this lake and then around it is where World of Frozen is, Lion King Land is going to be, it feels a bit like it should be like World Showcase in Epcot, that there should be multiple lands next to each other. So I don't know if that is the long-term vision, which I hope that is the case, because that would be great and it would really fill that area out and also disperse the crowds. Whereas obviously at the moment you've kind of got 2 rides, so there's not a lot of places for people to go, which is the downside. And especially because they're both great. And this is the thing, the Rapunzel ride as well, I was blown away by, because I was like, I love a teacup ride, I'm obsessed, and I was like, I think this is going to be really pretty, but I was kind of like, it's a teacup ride, it feels a bit basic, and like they haven't put much imagination into it. But I have to say, going on it at night is the way to do it, because they have all of the lanterns and they're lit up and it's amazing. And then when they've got the music going as well, and you're in your little boat spinning around, I absolutely loved it. I loved it so much more than I thought I would, and it was just so fun. So I do think, like, everything that I got to experience, I thought was great. There was nothing where I was kind of like, oh, this isn't like what I was expecting, or this is, everything exceeded my expectations, which is wonderful. But I'm just worried that there's not enough for people to do to disperse these crowds. So I think for probably even the rest of this year, it's going to be very, very busy, which is like, it's such a shame. Like I said, I keep telling people, like, I always feel guilty that I had this preview that went amazingly, because it was the only preview that kind of went smoothly, but also it's just because we had so few people there, and I think that made such a huge difference. So it's like, oh no, let's have a little look at some more questions. And then Jose said, do you follow any other Disney creators? If so, who do you follow? And yes, there's loads of people I watch, which is interesting. So I do watch Sam for God, who is absolutely incredible. Love Adam Hatton, and I'm really lucky to actually have a lot of friends that have YouTube channels. So my friend Liz, the fairy godmother, she was in Disney Paris at the same time as me. We've met up before in the UK and we've been to UK theme parks, but we've never been to Disneyland Paris at the same time. So it's fantastic that we got to meet up. Jess and Jay are absolutely fantastic. I love them, and I do watch a lot of the American US creators. So that's kind of how I really got into all the Disney stuff, because always been a massive Disney fan. And then when I was planning my 2018 trip, so probably 2 or 3 years in advance of that, I started really getting into Disney YouTubers, because I had never really watched YouTube. It's one of those things that kind of passed me by. Like, you know, you'd occasionally see like fun little cat videos and stuff, but I wasn't someone that sat and watched YouTube and searched things. And then when I was like, right, I want to start learning about the differences, because by that point Disney World was changing, where like they had fast pass and how you book your dining, and there was a lot of changes happening. So I started watching like Tim Tracker, Paging with Tomorrow, like all of the big channels that you know, and became obsessed. Honestly, I watched thousands and thousands of hours, and I still love watching them, which is so good. And of course, one of my all-time favourites was Adam the Woo. So it was absolutely shocking, and it's so tragic that he passed away. And that was actually something me and Liz were talking about during this trip. Adam the Woo was in Disneyland Paris a few days before he passed away, and going to the same places that he'd been and seeing how much joy he had had and how much he loved this park. It was so lovely, but also so sad. But I thought, you know, he's like the epitome of like what it is to be a great YouTuber. He kind of covered so many niches, but he had so much joy. He managed to design like an amazing life around the things he was passionate about. But also he was a massive supporter of anyone that wanted to start YouTube. He would kind of give support and advice, and just the amazing amount of friends that he has made. I was like, he's kind of like not just an amazing inspiration as someone that did YouTube, but also just as a person, he seemed amazing. So that has been very, very sad. But it's so difficult with Disney content creators. Like, there's so many of us now, so you're always kind of wanting to keep up with the people you watch, but also find new people. And then you're like, but where is the time? We need like a 3-day weekend so that we can have a 1 day a week just to find Disney content. That would be amazing, I think. It would be so fun. Hi Molly Ellen, how are you doing? It's so lovely to see you. And Joe has said, went to Disneyland Paris on the 16th, used all your vlogs to have an easy experience on the train and buying tickets. I'm so glad to hear that, because I always think it's those little things that can be like stressors when you're going somewhere, because it's like, where do I need to go? How easy is it going to be? And I know those are the things I'm always thinking about when I'm planning a trip, like how do I just get there? It's one of those things, because once you're in the parks, like you could probably, you know, if you get a map, you can work things out, but actually getting to the places I think can be really stressful, especially if you've had like long flights and stuff, or like long travel days. You're like, I just need this to be simple. So that's so wonderful to hear. And this trip was actually really fun for me because I was staying off-site for the first time, and I was blown away. I was absolutely blown away. The hotel I was staying in was the Moxie, and it's one of the most affordable hotels in Val d'Europe, but it is amazing. Like, it's so lush and it looks so high end for the price, and I was like, how is this possible? And it's also a really social hotel, so it has loads and loads of areas. Like, basically the whole downstairs is just different rooms with like lounges in. So what's really nice is if you were staying with friends, instead of just having to like cram into one person's room and all hang out, you can go to all of these really social areas. So I loved the hotel. It was a 2-minute walk to Val d'Europe train station, and the train takes like a minute and a half to get to Disneyland Paris. And I was just like, I actually think it was quicker than like getting from some of the Disney hotels, which was ridiculous. And the RER goes super frequently. It starts about 5 o'clock in the morning and it finishes at about 2 o'clock in the morning. So you can always get to Disney. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And because I've got the cheapest annual pass, and my annual pass cost me £261, which means I can visit the parks for 170 days of the year, and it's the dates that I kind of visit, so it works out perfectly. So a 3-day ticket is normally about £230, so I've only paid like £30 more to go whenever I want. And then staying off site, you can get really good deals. So this has been like the perfect way to get to visit Disneyland Paris more frequently. So I'm like, I was blown away. And then it was really nice to actually get a layout of Val d'Europe, because the train station has like 2 exits, and the exit that I was going out to get to my hotel, you also had an Ibis and an Ibis Budget literally next to the train station. Couldn't have been closer. The Resid Home is also there, and those are kind of like the 4 hotels that are more affordable in that area, and they're all so unbelievably close. So I will definitely try some of them when I go back, which is going to be very exciting. But yeah, I can't praise staying off site enough. I like really enjoyed it, and obviously you're outside that Disney bubble, but because you're so close and it's so easy to get there, I was like, this, it doesn't feel like you're really missing out. Like, obviously when you're at a Disney hotel you do have that extra feeling because you are in the Disney bubble, but yeah, I was just like, for the amount of money you're saving, amazing. It was so good. Cherry says, kind of like Disney California Adventure Park after the redo. Some parts look new and Disney standard, and some parts still do not. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? When you have a park and then they're like retroactively trying to make it look cohesive and all look the same, it's almost impossible to do. And I do think the Studios Park is kind of going through that, and we can kind of see the direction they want to go in. But it's like, okay, we still need... It's like... There's still stuff they need to do in the main park, where they've got like the Pixar area now, and they've got like the Aladdin ride, and it's like they're going to have to change that to something else surely, because you're just like, we've got Pixar and Aladdin for some reason. So I think that will be interesting, that over the years I'm sure they will change things. But I'm also excited, like I say, they do have the space to add more lands. So I'm wondering if the long-term plan is we've started this expansion and when we can add more things, we will, which would be very exciting. I think that'll be so good. I'm really interested to see what the Lion King land is going to be like because I've got a feeling it's going to be very similar to Frozen where it will be quite compact because we know it's going to have one ride. I imagine it will have a restaurant, a shop, and perhaps a meet and greet, so very similar to World of Frozen. The ride itself, I think, will be big because of the scale of the ride. It just naturally will be a big ride. But again, I do think it's kind of a smaller land, so that will be interesting to see how that goes as well. But the more and more things they add, the better it will get because, like I say, if you could just disperse the crowd more, it's going to be wonderful. And what I'm excited about is a lot of the shows were cancelled because of the weather. So I didn't get a chance to see Minnie's marching band. I didn't get a chance to see Rapunzel and Flynn. The Frozen show that I managed to see, it was happening 4 times that day, but the time I saw it was the only time it actually went ahead. So I was so lucky to catch that. The one downside is I didn't get to see Cascade of Lights, which is the brand new nighttime show. But the day I was there, it was incredibly windy, so the drones definitely could not have flown. In fact, the day before, my friend Liz, the fairy godmother, she had gone to that preview and they had like the lightest of breezes and the drones did not fly. Also, the other parts of the show is they have spray and they project onto the spray. So if you've ever been to DCA and you've seen World of Colour, it's kind of like that. But again, she was saying even with a little bit of breeze, where the spray then gets pushed by the wind, the projections kind of get distorted. And because there's such a windy day, I was like, do you know what? I'd rather see this the way it's intended to be seen than go and see it and only get like half the experience. So I think that's the really nice thing is that the next time I go to Disneyland Paris, there's going to still be more things to experience, which I think is really, really good. Because like I say, you kind of think, oh, maybe we'll get it all done in one day. And I didn't, which is fantastic. So there are more things to experience and also loads of food because they have... This is a thing. I'm pretty sure they kept saying there's 14 new food locations. I could count 7. I don't know if they mean that park now has 14 food locations or if there's more to come. But there was definitely 7 when I was there because you've got the Regal View, which is the Princess Carrot Dining Meal. That is going to be open for breakfast, lunch and dinner. You have Nordic Crowns Tavern in World of Frozen, which is the quick service restaurant. It's really, really great. You can choose your protein and then you can choose either crushed potatoes or quinoa as your base. You also get a dessert and a drink and it's €22. Then they had lots of little food booths. So they had 3 in a row, which were named after the cats from the Aristocats, which I was obsessed with because it has that nice tie to France. And they serve things like filled choux pastries. One did hot dogs and one did these like potato pancakes that are topped. And I was desperate to try them. However, by that point, it's quite late at night. It was the -3 wind chill. And the booths themselves, you just walk up to and order. Kind of like if you've ever been to Epcot Food and Wine. But they're obviously permanent structures in Disneyland Paris. But there's no seating with them. They do have some standing tables. But where it was so cold, I was like, I can't be standing at a standing table. Because I think my hands will actually freeze up and the food will probably immediately get cold. So there's all of these little things that I think over time they might go, oh, maybe we will add a few tables and stuff like that. Something I would say though is I do think there's a lot of seating because you've got this like main circle pathway which connects everything, but then in front of that you have these tiers and that's going to be really great to watch Cascades of Light because it's not like you're even all on one level. I think what's great is there's going to be so many vantage points to watch it, but also the fact that they've added these tiers, it's going to be so much easier to see. But in the daytime, they have lots of benches on these tiers, so there's lots of places to kind of sit down, relax, soak up the sun when it's out, which I think is going to be really lovely. But yeah, in the winter, these food booths, I'm like, they might need somewhere for you to eat that's sheltered, because imagine if it was like raining, you'll be like, I can't eat here, there's nowhere to eat. And that's the one thing I would say, everything is a bit exposed at the moment. But there are two food booths that are more substantial. So there is one that serves filled bread bowls, and that does actually have an undercover dining area. So you are outside, but it is covered. And the other location also has that, and they serve hot dogs as well. So I was like, I can count 7 restaurants, but maybe there's more to come. Maybe. But it's interesting. Interestingly, in World of Frozen itself, you have the Arendelle Boutique, which is amazing. Come with all the money, because it's a nightmare, because everything's so good. You want to buy everything. And then there is a smaller little shop, and they do things like a few plushes. They do this animatronic Olaf that you can buy. They have these like little jars that you can fill with mini figurines, and you can fill it with as many figurines as you can fit in for €35. They've got some hair accessories. It's a tiny shop. It's got a few different bits. Eventually, that is also where you're going to be able to buy the interactive troll. So there is going to be, which looks amazing, it's €75. You can buy this little interactive troll, and then you have like a strap to wear him. And he interacts with you, but he also interacts with other people that have the trolls. Now, these weren't available during the preview. They will be available from tomorrow. And they look so unbelievably cute. And apparently they're going to be sold in that shop, which is great. So if there's a really long queue for the Arendelle Boutique, you know that you can actually pop in that shop and get the amazing troll, which is so fun. But I do think what's nice about World of Frozen is it's so easy to navigate, which is wonderful. It's not like you can kind of think, oh, I don't know where something is, because when you first get into the land, you can kind of see everything in front of you. So you've got that amazing fountain, and then along the side you have all of these amazing, like very, very like Norwegian buildings. They look lovely. And that's actually where the Nordic Crowns Tavern is. Right in front of you, you have the clock tower, which interestingly, on the hour, it does do a little chime of a song from Frozen, and then it will do the normal dings for the hour. But that was really, really cute to experience. So you can see the ride right in front of you. Right next to that is the shop, and to the side of that is where you meet Anna and Elsa, the royal encounter. So you really can't get lost, which is fantastic. And then just in front all of them is where the second smaller shop is. And then there's also a little port, and that's where the show will be, where you have the boats and the characters, and it's just very, very exciting. Also in World of Frozen, you do have some roaming characters. So I got to see Oaken, I got to see Mossy the troll, and also the citizens of Arendelle were out. Because a lot of the shows were cancelled, instead of putting the show on, the citizens of Arendelle came out and did meet and greets, and you could talk to them and hang out, which was lovely. So again, I feel like it feels more like a real place because of that, if that makes sense. It's very similar. Like, I actually had a good question from Chris that says, this land took your breath away. What can you compare it to? And I think for the scale, it's very similar to Ratatouille. However, for the like level of like theming and interactivity, I think it's more like something like Galaxy's Edge, where you really feel like it is a real place, and where you have characters walking around and you also have shows and stuff like that. It feels very similar to that, but obviously much smaller. And that's why I kind of do feel like it feels like an American level land, which is wonderful. It really would fit in Disney World. But like I say, it then makes the studio park look a bit like older, which it is. It's 30 years older. So yeah, I think this park is always going to have some sort of identity crisis, because like we were saying, you can't really fix that after it's happened. But they're doing their best to kind of make it more cohesive. But I mean, it's interesting when you're in Adventure Way, and like I say, it looks very like posh. It looks really lovely, like the paving, the signs, everything. And then you can kind of see like Woody, the big Woody in Toy Story Playground, and you kind of go, oh yeah, that's it. Like, you kind of get taken out of the fact that you're in a land. Whereas normally in Disney parks, they try and make it like a seamless thing. And like even stuff like, if you're standing in Adventure Way and looking over to World of Frozen, it is a beautiful landscape. When you're looking the other way, it's really funny, because obviously you can see Regal View, which is a huge restaurant, and when it's lit up, it's lovely. But then obviously you see the back of the Tower of Terror, and they've kind of not done anything to kind of paint that. It's just like beige. And then you can see bits of the other land, and it kind of doesn't take you out of it per se, but it doesn't feel very Disney. You're like, okay, because normally, like, Disney World is famous for, even though they're in completely different parks, the Tower of Terror, the back of it has been painted to look more like Moroccan in colour, because if you are in the Morocco pavilion in Epcot, you can see it in the distance, and that's kind of like the level of detail that Disney World put on things. I do have to say though, this whole expansion, when it's lit up at night, is unreal, because like World of Frozen is stunning anytime, and at night it is beautiful. But what they do is all around the lake, they have all of these amazing lights. All of the trees have lights in them. Rapunzel's ride, obviously, with the lanterns lit up. So at night, the whole area is so, so, so pretty. It's just beautiful, and you're like, oh, and that's the thing, it kind of really exceeded my expectations, which was like incredible, because you go in kind of thinking, what will it be like? And like I said, because we've got a Frozen ride in other parks, we've got a teacup style ride, is it going to be kind of a bit of a letdown? And I actually was like, oh no, everything was way, way, way better than I was expecting, and I just can't wait for other people to experience it, because it's just so stunning. And I'm really glad that there are actually 3 shows and the nighttime show just in those lands, which is great, because this park, the fact you've now got so much more entertainment, so much more dining, I think is fantastic, because there always has been like a lack of food in the Studios part. I've got to get used to calling it Adventure World. We've got to get our heads around it's got a brand new day from name from tomorrow. So I think that's going to be brilliant. But the fact that you've got all of these different shows you can go and see is wonderful. And the show, again, I didn't know what to expect, and I was like, it was so great. It had a lovely storyline. The storyline itself fits into everything in the land, and again, that's what I think comparatively it's kind of like Galaxy's Edge, because Galaxy's Edge is also a land with a storyline, whereas if you go to somewhere like Toy Story Land and Toy Story Playground, they're great because you literally feel like you're into Toy Story, you get to see all the characters, the bright colours, but it's just like you're in Toy Story. Whereas this land, there's like a theme of the Snow Flower Festival, and that's really, really nice because it runs throughout everything. Like in the land itself, you see posters for it. It's talked about in the ride. It's talked about in the show. So it's really great that they have this like storyline running through the whole land, which again, I think makes it just that next level special, because it's not just a themed land. It really feels like a real place, which is wonderful. So I think they've done that really, really good. Oh, so Pepper, the very cute cat, who I love, that I think the cat's typing to me, asked, is it easy to navigate around the area, and is it confusing or hard to find riders and shops? And I think what is good is I do think this is going to be a really easy place to navigate. I think the only thing that is difficult at the moment is where you have one way to enter Frozen and one way to exit Frozen. And because I didn't know which way around it was going to be, I just was like, oh, I'll pick to go one way. And I went the wrong end. But if you go in, and once you get to the lake, you go around the left-hand side, that will take you to the entrance of Frozen. Once you're in Frozen, super easy to find everything. And actually, when you're on Adventure Way itself, it's really easy to find everything as well. So I do think that's really nice. And that's something that I think is good about having a lake, is that you naturally have a path that will take you everywhere you need to go. And it's lovely for that. You're not thinking, oh gosh, like, which path do I go down? Which way do I go? Which some lands you can have that. You're like, I don't know what's the quickest route. Whereas with this, it's lovely that you've got the lake that kind of guides you around. So I would say go clockwise, and that will get you into Frozen. And then when you come out, you can go the other way. And then again, I think what's good about that is you will get to do Rapunzel at night if you do that as well. And that ride is definitely best to do at night when it's lit up. And like the music's playing and it's so much fun. It's so good. As I said, I saw in videos that they painted the fences in 2 different colours. One to fit Frozen and Adventure Way, and one to fit Lion King. Same with the plants and flowers. And I didn't go all the way up to the Lion King construction, purely because by that point it was quite late at night. It was freezing cold, and also I knew that there was nothing there apart from the walk. So it's really interesting to hear that actually it does change a bit when you get to Lion King, because that's the thing, you want it to be able to kind of gently start introducing the fact that you're somewhere new. And it is interesting, like I said, when you're in Adventure Way and all the way up to World of Frozen, it's kind of all the same design. And even, like I said, once you get to kind of the Lion King area, but I didn't fully experience the Lion King expansion bit, because I was just like, knowing that between the last food booth, which is very close to Adventure Way, to Frozen, this whole section, there's nothing apart from plants at the moment. And yeah, it will be interesting to see how they kind of do that transition between Lion King and Frozen right next to each other. Because you're like, that's a bit strange. But Cherry said that's a shame, because the Oaken Sleigh ride really brings a lot to the Hong Kong land, although it's way too short. And that's the thing, I have heard, like, the ride looks so fun, but it'd be nice if it was longer, because I think it's 45 seconds long. And I'm like, oh no, we definitely need that longer. And I think it's great because it adds that little element of thrill to the park, and it's like a great photo spot if you kind of are looking out over it. So I do think it would have been lovely to have that. And also, and this is something I think is good to have a debate or discussion about, do you think, now that Disneyland Paris are doing this thing where they go, we're having one ride and we're calling it a land, do you think that constitutes as a land, or do you think there should be more? Because obviously we've seen it with Remy, that has one ride, one restaurant, one shop. Frozen is kind of similar. Lion King's going to be kind of similar. So it's interesting that they're doing this new thing of like a land is now one ride. And I'm like, it feels like I said, the downside with that is that there's nowhere for people to go. If you have two rides, you can split the queue. So it's interesting that you're only going to have one ride, and then you know it's going to be super, super, super busy. So yeah, I'm like, maybe do we need to have like a 2-ride minimum? Which I feel like even Disney World, you're now having lands with far fewer rides in. So like Pandora, there's just 2 rides. It is becoming more common that that's the kind of way they're going. But I'm like, surely we need more than one. Maybe. It'd be so good. Hi Peter, lovely to see you. How are you doing? I'm very excited that you're heading back next month, and I can't wait to hear what you think about everything. It'll be so fun for you to go and explore everything that's new. And Terry also said, what's your favourite Disney park? And I think my favourite park is probably Disneyland Park, because you've obviously got the history there with it being Walt's Park. I loved doing Walt's apartment tour, which was wonderful. But also, as a park, it is jam-packed. There are so many rides, so many things to do. And it really blew me away, because I was like, I don't think I've ever been to a kind of Disneyland park, like you have Magic Kingdom or Disneyland Park and Disneyland Paris, that is that jam-packed. Like, the version of Fantasyland in Disneyland is unbelievable. There's just attraction after attraction after attraction. Also, the roaming characters throughout the whole park makes it feel so alive. So yeah, I just absolutely love Disneyland Park. It's so wonderful. And if you ever have the opportunity to go out to California, definitely make a visit to Disneyland, because I think what we're also used to, like, Disneyland Paris is so wonderfully close to us, which is great. And you know, being like an hour away from the magic is fantastic. And then Disney World is the one we all hear about because it's the flagship. But Disneyland is so special. And I always say it's the best of Disney World and Disneyland Paris. So it has the kind of level of Disney feeling and customer service that you have in Disney World, but it has the ability to be walkable and really beautiful and charming like Disneyland Paris. So I literally think it's like the combination of all the best parts of both of those destinations. And yeah, I just love Disneyland Park. I'm desperate to get back. I really want to see this Walt Disney animatronic. It looks so good. Joe says, I can't wait for the Lion King version of Splash Mountain in Adventure Way. And yeah, it's going to be really interesting, I think, because like you said, it's going to be a great, huge ride. It's such a fun ride. It's going to be amazing to have something that's Lion King first in any kind of park. The only thing I'm worried about is the water effects. Like, what is going to happen in the winter? Are they going to turn the water effects off? Because the thing is, when it's like -5 outside. No one's going to want to get wet. So I'm assuming there is a way they will be able to kind of tone it down. So I think it's going to be really interesting because they've obviously thought of this. They've planned all that out. So I can't wait to see how they're going to do it. But yeah, it's just going to be so good. And I think it's going to look wonderful having like Pride Rock as a big kind of structure in Disneyland Paris. It'll be amazing. But it is so funny that they literally have gone Africa, Norway, like could not be more opposite, like Frozen, Lion King. I think it's gonna be really fun. Hiya! Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed the vlog. And unfortunately, I didn't get to meet Anna and Elsa, and that was purely because in the previews they you had to get a ticket to meet them, but I couldn't find out what times the tickets went live because it was kind of like the virtual queue, except you had to get physical tickets. There were certain times of the day that you could collect it, so I never ever got to meet them. I did see Mickey as he was walking around, but his queue to meet him was always very, very, very long. And I ended up spending over 5 hours in World of Frozen, which was wild. And by the time I got to where Mickey was meeting, I think they were closing. There were still people in the queue, but the cast members were stopping anyone else entering because I think it was getting towards the end. Because by that point, it was about 9 o'clock. So I think Mickey was going to go, especially because it was freezing. Like, they'd brought out some of those, you know, they're like heaters that have fire in them. That sounds really dramatic, but it's like a metal cage with fire inside, which they sometimes have in the parks next to like the entrance of rides so that cast members can keep warm. And literally between meeting people, Mickey would run up to there and like hang out for a bit and then come back. So I think Mickey was very, very cold. Which totally makes sense. So unfortunately I didn't get to meet Mickey, but I was so glad to see him in his new costume because it's so lovely. And obviously there's supposed to be like a boardwalk theme to Adventure Way, and his costume really gives you that kind of like vintage boardwalk feel, which was so fun. So I think that will be really cute. And that, again, it's nice that to go back another day and do that will be wonderful. And we have seen Minnie has this costume as well, so I don't know if in the long run she will also do meet and greets, because that could be really fun as well. So we want to see her in her costume, which is so fun. And then Jose said as long as it contains more than one ride, like shop, shows and food in the same theme, you could call it a land. And that's the thing, isn't it? I think that's what Disney are going for. They're like, as long as there's multiple things. But I think the problem with that is there's not enough places for people to go. So like I said, my preview, I was so lucky. All of the other previews, there was a 2-hour queue to get into World of Frozen, at least an hour and a half queue for the ride, 2-hour queue to get into the shop. So I think what's going to happen is people are going to get really frustrated with queuing, essentially, because if you go from one queue to another queue to another queue and they're really long, and like a 2-hour queue to get into a shop, I think a lot of people are going to be shocked that that's something that's going to happen. And I think that's the problem with having such a small land. So I'm like, oh, I don't know what they're going to do. But Joe says a land with one ride isn't a land, in my opinion. I think the area outside of the land, outside of the ride isn't a land, it's pre-ride immersion. And that's actually a really good point, because I totally agree. I feel like a land itself has to always have that theming and the immersion. But say there was no rides and it was just theming, it would feel like it was lacking. So when they go, okay, we've got one ride, you go, okay, this is good, we're getting there. But then when it's just one thing and then we're moving on, it feels like a cost-cutting measure, if that makes sense. It feels like we don't have the budget to do more, so we'll pull it back. And on the one hand, it's good because we'd rather have something than nothing. But like I say, I feel like at least for the next few months, you are going to have quite a lot of frustrated people. And I think it's going to be a mixture of the queuing being really, because the thing is, like I said, the previews were limited to capacity, and if those are the queues that you were getting during the previews, I honestly think like this next week or month, it could be like 4, 5, 6 hour queues to get into World of Frozen. I think it could be absolutely bonkers, which is difficult. And then also, I think people are going to complain about the Olaf animatronic not existing, because obviously all of the images, all of the videos that you've seen, anything that's promotional from Disneyland Paris have all shown this walking, talking, interactive Olaf. And he was like the star in the crown because he is like state of the art, because not only does he walk, he's run by AI. So when you speak to him, he can respond in real time because of AI, which is unbelievable. However, he's only being pulled out for press events. So the public are never going to go and see him. Which I think, again, a lot of people, if you've never been to Disneyland Paris, but you've got kids obsessed with Frozen, and you heard this was coming, and you've booked a trip, and you're like, we're going to go see Olaf walking around, and we're going to do the ride, we're going to do this, and then you get there, and you queue 3 hours to get into the land, there's no Olaf, and it's an hour and a half to go on the ride, and then your kids are fed up. I think a lot of people are going to get frustrated. So it is so difficult, because it is stunning. And I think every individual element is awesome. I just feel like it's too small for the amount of people who are going to go. And that's what worries me. I'm like, oh no. But Cherry says Disneyland Anaheim is my favourite too. And yeah, I think it's wonderful. And it's so nice to actually see more and more people choosing to visit there, because it's just so wonderful. And I think a lot of people are kind of put off because obviously it's a much longer flight. And I think people feel like it could be a much more expensive holiday. But if you're used to Disney World prices, California can be much more reasonable, which is fantastic. And it's so good there. It's so good. Jose says, for example, if Smuggler's Run didn't exist, I would still call Galaxy's Edge a land because it's so immersive. Same for Pandora. And yeah, I think it's true, but I think the problem is as well, those lands are significantly bigger, so there's much more to see and do. Whereas World of Frozen, I cannot exaggerate enough how small it is. And I think that's the issue, because it is so tiny. There's just nowhere for people to go. And I think that's the thing, like you say, like Galaxy's Edge is fantastic because there's so many different like crevices and things to look at and stuff. But also Galaxy's Edge, you know, it has so many shops. It has the whole marketplace. Like, it's so much grander in its scale. So even if they did lose one ride, the fact that there's so many things there, I think could make up for it. Whereas I just think, I don't know. And like even like Ratatouille, now it's calmed down. But when that first launched, it was having 3-4 hour queues. Because again, you've only got one ride, that's what everyone's going on. So I don't know, it's difficult, and I feel like it's just a budgeting thing. I think if there was endless amounts of money, they would never do a land with just one ride in it. But I think they're going, okay, we've got to pull back. And like Hong Kong obviously isn't owned by Disney, so they were able to kind of do further investment. And yeah, I just think it's so hard, because you know, I think this is a wonderful addition. But I'm just worried about what people are going to experience, because I just think, oh God. Because when I was going to my preview, I had in mind that I might not even get into World of Frozen. I was thinking I knew I'd be able to get on the Rapunzel ride, because that's kind of got a reasonable ride. Maybe I'd get to see some of the shows. Obviously the weather, I wouldn't have been able to do that. See the food booths, the shops, but I was kind of going in with the mindset that I might not even get into World of Frozen. And I know some people, that was the case during the previews, and I feel like if you go to Disneyland Paris semi-frequently, it might be the case of seeing what the queue is like, and if it's too much, doing it at a later trip. Whereas people, if it's their only trip to Disneyland Paris, I just think, oh God, like I feel so bad, because they're not going to have the full experience that you would normally have, just because it's new and it's exciting and it's going to be busy. So it's like, oh no. But yeah, as I said, I'd love to meet Mickey and Minnie together, and I think that would be fantastic, because we know that Minnie does have this boardwalk Adventure Way costume, so it would be so fun if they were met together, because like you said, that's so unique, you don't really get that. So I think that would be wonderful. Or even if they went like from this hour to this hour it's Mickey, and then from this hour to this hour it's Minnie, and then what's great is you've got one location but 2 different character meets. So I think that could be really, really fun. So yes, I think you're so right. I wonder if they wanted to show off the Olaf robotic advances rather than for the general public. And that's become apparent that what it is, because he's gone from Disneyland Paris back to America to go to these tech conventions. And then he's gone back to Disneyland Paris today because there's another big press event. So I've seen again all of the inside ears influencers being like, oh my God, Olaf, and they're the only people that have ever seen this Olaf. And no one else is going to get to see it. And I do think that's an issue. If you have press events and inside ear and influencer events, and you pull all the stops out and give them extra things, and then these people make content of what they're experiencing, because that is what they're experiencing, and then put it out and everyone thinks that's what they're going to experience, it's really false advertising, because it's not what people are going to experience. And I think because they've done so much promotion, like even when I got home, there was an advert on telly talking about Adventure Way, and it had this walking Olaf in it, and I'm like, you cannot have used him for 6 months making out you were going to be able to meet him, and then you can't. But I think you're very right. It's always been like, because he is so advanced, they want to be able to kind of show him at all of these like conventions and stuff, to show like, this is what we've done. He's one of the most expensive things they've ever made, so that makes sense. But I'm like, but then they should have never have implied that he was going to be roaming. And like, because I literally was thinking, you know, I can't remember what it's called, but you know, sometimes everyone thinks something, so like a quote from a film or an event that happened, and it turns out it isn't that. Everyone's got it wrong, but everyone has the same memory. And I was like, am I misremembering that they've definitely told us we can meet him? So I was looking it up, and on the Disneyland Paris website it said you could meet him. And I was like, guys, you can't promote that. Because I just think if you had a kid and you've been saying for months you're going to get to meet Olaf, and then you go, nope. And even at the preview, I was lucky enough to meet a few different people, and they were like, oh, have you seen roaming Olaf? Where is he? And I'm like, it doesn't exist. Like, we don't get to see it. And I think that's the thing. I don't think at the press events you should have things that the public won't get to experience, because again, it kind of gives like a 2-tier experience, if that makes sense. Like, if you're an Inside Ears member, you're going to get the gold star treatment and experience, but if you're the paying public, you're going to get a lesser version of that. And I just think, oh, that's not great. So I hope Disneyland Paris move away from that, because I mean, I do think Disney do that in general. I know obviously the Disney Adventure, the new cruise ship, recently launched, and they had a very similar thing there, that they had the inaugural sailing, which was much more expensive than other sailings, because you were going to be the first people on the ship. Turned out that actually they'd had a sailing already that was like the influencer sailing, and they'd had all of these like amazing shows, experiences, blah blah blah, and then people were like, I can't wait to go on it. Got there and they didn't experience any of it, and they were just like they've got this roller coaster on the ship, which is incredible. I'd seen some videos, it looks amazing. The people that had paid to go on the actual cruise can't go on the roller coaster, and I was like, guys, you've got to stop doing this. You can't show people what you're going to get to experience and then not let them experience it. So yeah, I do think that's going to be really, really interesting. Well, this is a good question. So Jose said, do you think Africa in Animal Kingdom is a land at the moment? They only have the safari as an attraction. But again, I think because they have so many things, they have so much entertainment, multiple shops, multiple restaurants, multiple food booths, it feels like a land. It's like a real place. Whereas if you've got like something that's tiny, 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 and it's like one shop, one restaurant, one ride, because there's so few of everything, it just feels like this doesn't feel like a land. It's not big enough to be a land. There's not enough things to make it a land. And obviously we know it is a land. They're calling it a land. It's officially a land. But I think all of the other lands, because they, like in Disney World, even if you do have just like one attraction, because there's so many extra things you get to experience, it still feels like a place. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. And it's the same like Galaxy's Edge. There's so many restaurants, so many shops, the Ogre's Cantina, they've got roaming characters, multiple shows. It feels on a grander scale. Whereas like this, you're like, okay. Like, it's just... And I think it's just the fact that I know it's going to impact people's experience, because it's too small to accommodate a lot of people at once. And I think that's the worrisome thing, because at least in other lands you can spread out. And in Africa, they also have loads of the animal exhibitions. So if people wanted to look at them, they could go on those pathways and stuff. So it's difficult, isn't it? Like, I suppose it's not even just about how many rides you have. It is kind of like, what is there to do in the land? And I think because it's literally just one of each thing, it just feels like, oh gosh, it's going to be rammed for a very long time, which is going to be bonkers. Cherry says you need to visit Fantasy Springs in Tokyo. Disney the Frozen ride there is incredible. And yes, I would absolutely love to go to Tokyo. It looks like next level amazing. I'd love to do a trip where you got to do all 3 of the Asian parks in one. I think it would be wonderful. And yeah, Fantasy Springs looks incredible. It's so, so nice. And it is just such an exciting time though, isn't it? Because obviously Fantasy Springs is very, very recent. We've got this big expansion at Disneyland Paris that's happened. Disney World is having a lot of expansions happening right now, or retheming of lands. Disneyland is also having it. So it feels like the next maybe like 10 years across the Disney parks are going to be really exciting. And it's nice to know that, you know, next year Disneyland Paris you're going to have the Upride. A few years after that you're going to have the Lion King land. So it's quite good to see that there is more stuff happening. I think the problem is, I feel like after the Lion King land, it's going to be a long period of time before we have anything else. We do know that Disneyland Paris have to have a third gate, and they have to break ground by 2036. I think they'll try and push that again. I don't know if the French government will be willing, because they have pushed that back multiple times, and I think the French government are like, no, you've got to get started on it. But we know that this has taken 8 years to build, so I'd imagine a whole park will take a very, very, very long time to build, because obviously, like, if there's going to be 3, 4, 5 lands, it's just going to take a long time. It's going to take so long. But I'm also really interested to see what that land, what the park will be themed about, and also what, like, attractions, rides, films, characters will be in that park. I'd love to see more of the, like, French stuff. So Aristocats, Beauty and the Beast, Hunchback of Notre Dame. That is something I loved in Adventure Way. The fact that the 3 food booths that are all next to each other are named after the cats from the Aristocats, because it was lovely tied to France. And obviously it's great where you've already got Ratatouille. But I think it would be wonderful if you could have more of that. And I'm always surprised they've never done Beauty and the Beast in France, because you're like, it's set in France. It would be wonderful. And the Beauty and the Beast land in Tokyo looks amazing, and the ride is so good. So I'm like, oh my gosh. But also, what I do think is really good about the Lion King land is it is unique, because the only other thing, a lot of discussion has been going on about how the parks are becoming a bit gentrified. So a lot of the lands are now being copied and pasted in different parks. And then it's that difficult thing of, is that a good thing? Because it means more people can experience it, because a lot of people may never, ever, ever get out to Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, or even the American parks. So to be able to have, like, World of Frozen here, fantastic. Ratatouille obviously started here, has now gone to Epcot. Is it great because then people will get to experience these lands that they've seen so much about? Or do the parks need to be more unique so that there's a reason to visit each of them? Because they always used to be quite different. And now we're seeing more and more of the same lands in parks. I actually, again, think that's a budgeting thing, because obviously once you know a ride, you know exactly how much it's going to cost to build and stuff like that. So I think it's easier to build a land which once you already know how everything is and how much it's going to cost. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting discussion, because I think there's pros and cons to it, but that's the same with everything, isn't it? There's some good things, some bad things. But yeah, as I said, I haven't been myself yet, but I get what you're saying when you look at the size of the land, if you can call it a land. And yeah, I think that's the thing, like, because it is so small, it's, once there's queues for the ride and the shop and the restaurant, there will be no space for people to even walk around to look at the details or the other shop and stuff like that. And I think that's going to be the issue. Like, the queues are going to become part of the walkway, and I think, yeah, that's the thing, there's just nowhere for people to disperse. So I think that's gonna be the main complaint about this, that, like, it's absolutely stunning, it's beautiful, the ride is incredible, the shows, like, everything is so good, but I think it's just the lack of space is gonna be the main thing that people are going to be a bit like, oh, that was a downside to it. So I'm hoping, you know, over time that will calm down, but I think it's going to take a long time, which is such a shame. We've got here, I said from the beginning that you need more than one ride in World of Frozen. They've made a lot of it increasing capacity in the Studios part, but I worry about the queues just to get into that land. And I think this is the interesting thing. Disneyland Paris have kind of done a big push on the expansion is however many acres. The reality is 95% of that is water in the lake and paths. There's 2 rides and like a handful of food booths, like 1 main shop, and then a few like mini shops that are like really, really tiny. And then the 2 restaurants. So it's interesting because obviously the size of the expansion is very big and it adds a lot, but there's not a lot of things for people to do. That's what I'm saying. Like, eventually, I'm hoping that they will, even if it's just like food booths or little pop-up shops and stuff, because the walkways to get to places at the moment are kind of quite bare. So I'm hoping they will add more things. And like I say, hopefully in the long run, they'll also be able to add more lands on. Because that's the thing, like when you're walking around, you're like, okay, there's like nothing in this part, which is interesting because normally Disney try and like fill things in, or even if it's like theming, because like Galaxy's Edge does have quite a lot of spaced out stuff. So like between like Rise of the Resistance to like the marketplace, there are like photo spots of like different I want to say spaceships. They're not called spaceships. But they've got different like vehicles that you can have photos with, but it kind of is just like a lot of theming of like rocks and plants. Between that, there's like a lot of gaps, whereas like here, like you've got the paving, the like nice benches, so it all looks very lovely. But I do think they will need to add more things in the long run, because it's just like, oh, there's nothing here, this is weird. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think again it's just a budgeting thing. I think obviously doing any sort of expansion is really expensive, and I think they've kind of done it cleverly. Of like, if you have a lake, one, it's quite good because like I say, it makes it easier to navigate, and then you have the option of building lands off of it. But it's also quite clever because it takes up a lot of space. But it also means you can have a show there and it be the central point and everyone will get a good view. Because the downside, which I've always found in any of the Disneyland parks, is the fireworks show is an iconic way to end the night. But it's almost like they're the worst parks to have it in, because obviously you have to stand in the Castle Hub or down Main Street, which are very narrow areas, so everyone kind of gets cramped. Whereas Cascade of Light is going to be wonderful because there's going to be so many viewing points to watch it. I think everyone's going to have a good view. So I do think that's really clever with the lake as well. But yeah, it does take up a lot of the space. Although the lake isn't as big as you think it would be, which is quite good. So you're like, it's not like you're just like the Epcot size lake. You're like, this is mad, it's huge. But I do think they will need to add more things on in the long run, because at the moment there's a lot of like walking where there's nothing. So yeah, that's interesting. But then, like I said, once you get to the lands, they're lovely. They're like really beautiful, exceeded all expectations. Oh, here we go. And do you think Disneyland Paris needs to improve the ability of character meet and greets without the need of virtual queue? And I do think that would be so handy, because I think the downside of Disneyland Paris is there are obviously characters to meet, but when you actually think about it, there's not loads. And I think it would be really, really good to have more characters. So like we were saying, even if it was, you know, between like park opening till 3 o'clock, at this location you can meet Pluto, and then from 3 till park closing it's Goofy. Even if they just switched up the characters throughout the day, I think that would be great, because like you say, people really want to meet the characters. I think it's good that they still do have some standby queues and it's not 100% virtual queue, because like you say, virtual queue is really hit or miss, and it's such a shame if you don't get to meet a character and it's the only way you can meet the character, which is it's the worst, isn't it? Especially if you're someone that doesn't get to go to Disneyland Paris very much, or it's your first ever trip, you don't know if you're going to be back. To think you can't meet someone that you really want to meet because of the virtual queue is a nightmare. So it's great they still have standby queues, but I think it would be great if they added more characters into the parks in general, or at least if they did that like switching up so that you could meet multiple characters. I think that would be really, really, really fun, because it's also that thing of once you've been to Disneyland Paris a few times, it's always the same characters. So it's kind of like you don't have to necessarily meet them every single time, or at least I don't, because I'm like, okay, well, if I've done that meet and greet, it's kind of the same. So I think it would be lovely if they could switch it up and like have some rarer characters, and I think it would be so fun. There's so much they could do with it, so that would be great. And that's something I do think is really fun about when they have events like the Halloween events, where you'll have different characters out, or when they have these annual pass parties, they tend to bring rarer characters out, and again, that's really fun. But it's a shame that it's limited only to those events that happen 4 times a year, and obviously only for annual pass holders. So I think it would be great if they could add more characters, which would be so fun. I'd love it to go back to the Roman character days, but I feel like in Disneyland Paris and Disney World, because the characters get so mobbed, they've just had to stop doing it. Whereas Disney World, I think people are just used to it, and especially because Disneyland, it's mostly a locals park still, so where people go so frequently, it's a bit more laid back, it's like a chilled atmosphere, so I think they can kind of do those sorts of things. But I would love it, because yeah, characters are such a fun part of a Disney trip. It's so good. Oh, thank you so much for asking about my shoulder. It has been a nightmare, because obviously when it first happened, and then eventually got a diagnosis, and they said 6 to 12 weeks and it should kind of be back to normal. So it got to like week 8, and I was like, oh, this is really, really good. Like, I'm going to Disneyland Paris the following week, my shoulder feels much better. I was down to just 1 dose of pain medication a day. Fantastic. And then about 3 or 4 days before the trip, I had a massive flare up, and basically the pain went back to, basically went back to square one. I went back to how painful it was before. I've had to now go back up to 4 doses of pain medication a day. Luckily, so luckily, during the trip, the pain didn't get any worse. So whether I was at home or outside, it didn't make any difference, which was great, because I was really worried about that, particularly with the backpack. Ironically, having the backpack on didn't hurt any different, but when I took the backpack off, it hurt more, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. So it was interesting the backpack seemed to help. And I also think when you're in Disney, the Disney magic helps you perk up and feel better. Because when I've come back, my arm's definitely been hurting more. So I think the only solution is I need a prescription from the doctors to go to Disney. So if Disney could be they go, this is a treatment now offered on the NHS, that would be wonderful. I think a lot of people would feel a lot better if they could go to Disney. So yeah, it's just one of those annoying things that you kind of feel like you've taken a massive step backwards. Admittedly, the NHS physio that I've been seeing, is she was saying whenever you've had like a nerve injury or nerve damage, it can take up to 2 years for the nerves to properly regenerate. So she's like, there could be these setbacks. And then she was saying stuff like, if there's like a stressful event, or anything with heightened emotions, that can trigger it. So I'm like, oh gosh, it feels like it could be a really long road. But at least the good thing is, once you have a diagnosis, I think that helps you massively, because you kind of know. It's like when I was going to Disneyland Paris this time, I knew, okay, I'm going to be in pain, but because I know what it is, and apart from taking pain medication, there's nothing you can do, just to let it work its way out. I was like, okay, you can kind of deal with it. It's just been a nightmare. Wendy has asked, do you have any more sponsored trips on the horizon? I loved your budget series you did in Florida, and I would love to do that again. And so I don't have any sponsored trips at the moment. I would absolutely love to do it, because it was such a joy. And I think you're so right, doing a theme around how to get the most out of a budget going to Disney World is amazing. It was so much fun, and again, I was so surprised, because it made me realise how much I was overspending, but also how many things you could do without feeling like you were taking away from your experience. So it was just so much fun. So it would be a joy if I was able to do something like that again. So yeah, it was just the best. Hi Ethan, thank you so much for joining us. How are you? Hi Lisa, how are you doing? Lovely to see you. It's just very, very exciting. Oh, this is really interesting. Joe said the Spider-Man one was a big letdown for me after riding the one at Universal. And that's also the interesting thing, isn't it? When you have rides around the same film or characters, even if they're in different parks, or even stuff like, the thing I always feel bad about is Cars Land. So Radiator Springs in Disney California Adventure is amazing. It's like beautiful scenery. The rides are wonderful, particularly Radiator Springs Racers, unreal. It's so good. It's so much fun as a ride. And then a lot of people that come from the US come to Disneyland Paris and they go, oh my God, they've got a Cars Land. And they think it's going to be the same. And I'm like, oh no. It's like, lower your expectations. It's very different. And that's the thing. I actually do like Cars Road Trip. I think Catastrophe Canyon is always so impressive. And I love that it kind of does link back to when you used to have the backlot studio tour with the tram. So I love that they've kept that. But if you're thinking you're about to go on Radiator Springs Races, you are not getting the same experience. So I do think that is true. When you've been on a ride and you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then you go, oh, actually, this other version of like a Spider-Man ride isn't as good as that one. I think that's always going to be the difficulty. And yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Because it's just like, what should we do with our rides? But it's also really good, like, I do feel like at the moment it's a really good time to be a theme park fan, because obviously, as we were saying, the Disney parks all around the world are doing these expansions, so it's going to be really exciting. But also in the UK, you've got Universal Great Britain coming. Presumably that's going to put a little bit of heat on Disneyland Paris to kind of maybe start this third gate and announce maybe what they're thinking of doing with that. So I just think it's like a really exciting time that we're going to have like all of these different things happening. So I just can't wait. USA says, I need the Disney treatment big time. I think we need to campaign that everyone needs to go. It is a genuine medical treatment. Because have you ever heard before the thing about if you're in Florida and you have kidney stones, oftentimes doctors will say, if you've got an annual pass, go on Big Thunder Mountain in Disney World, because it will knock you about a bit and it can sometimes move the kidney stones so you can pass them. And I was like, that is brilliant. The doctors are literally going, you need to go to Disney World. That's going to help you. And I'm like, we need that everywhere. If all medical people go, you must go to, it's necessity to go to Disney. Wouldn't that be a joy? It'd be so good. Yes, everyone needs it. This is the thing. And like we said before, not just like if you have a physical condition, like it helps alleviate your pain. There's so much to be said of going somewhere where you are in a bubble, so you don't hear about all the terrible things happening in the world, you aren't worrying about bills or anything like that, and you're going somewhere where everything's so joyful and everything, the message is follow your dreams and like anything can happen. And then also the fact that you're in a place which is literally the embodiment of that. Like Walt Disney's like the poster child for if you can dream it, you can do it. It's so good for your like mental well-being. And I'm like, we need immediately we need to start having doctors go, everyone's got to go to Disney for their health. It's so true. But yeah, it's so funny, isn't it, when they're like, go on Big Thunder Mountain, you'll get rid of your kidney stones. That's your solution. It's wonderful. I was going to say, if you don't have an annual pass, it's quite an expensive way to get rid of kidney stones. However, US medical care is so expensive that it's probably cheaper to do that still. But can you imagine, like a doctor, you're like, right, well, you're going to have to go to Magic Kingdom. I think that's the only solution. What great treatment. I love it. It's so good. But yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, Disney really is the best place to improve people's mood. It's just absolutely wonderful. It's so good. We also had some other questions. Someone did ask, which I think is a good question, because I get this come up a lot. Why do I choose to fly rather than use the Eurostar to go to Disney? Which is so good a question. So basically, I did used to go on the Eurostar when they stopped at other places. So they used to stop in London, Ebbsfleet and Ashford. When it was Ashford, I would be able to drive there, park up, get the Eurostar. The Eurostar's great because you haven't got luggage allowance, which means you can take as much as you want, but more importantly, bring back as much as you want. Like, it's fantastic and it's nice and easy. And at that point, they also did the train directly to Disneyland Paris. So it was amazing that you could get on and then you'd get off in Disney. Once they shut those down, so for me, what's difficult is to get from Portsmouth to London, it's like an hour and a half, 2 hour train. Then I have to get 2 tubes to get over to St Pancras to get on the Eurostar. So it was quite expensive and quite time consuming. Whereas like it's an hour and 20-minute drive to Heathrow. So it's much easier for me to get to the airport. So that's really the only reason why I fly rather than Eurostar. It's just a lot simpler, a lot quicker, a lot cheaper. I also think because the trains in the UK are so unreliable, I always have that stress of if I got a train from Portsmouth on the day that I was getting the Eurostar, I would be worried that I would miss the Eurostar. But if you then I'll go up the day before, paying for a hotel in London ends up being so expensive. So I'm like, we'll just drive to the airport and it'll be nice and simple. And I always kind of give myself enough time so that if there's traffic or anything, I can avoid that. But yeah, I think that's a really good question, because most people, I mean, to be fair, when I watch other people's vlogs, I very rarely see anyone fly. Most people do get the Eurostar or drive. I've never driven. It is something that I have thought about doing, because again, you don't have like the luggage allowance, stuff like that. But I think because I do a lot of solo trips, I'm like, oh, it's quite a long drive for one person. And also, the Eurotunnel is one price. So if you are 4 people in a car, it works out quite cheap. If you're one person, sometimes it can be kind of expensive depending how far in advance you book it. But I'd like to try that one day just to see what the experience is like. But yeah, I only fly just because it's basically the easiest for me. There is also a hotel, not a hotel, an airport closer to me that I could go to. They do fly to Paris, but they fly to Orly, which isn't terrible because there is the magical shuttle. You can get the Disney coach from Orly to the hotels. The downside is they only fly on certain days of the week, and they wouldn't work for me, particularly now I've got the annual pass, because I'd have to either go and only go to the parks for a few days, because then I'd have to fly home on a weekend and I can't go into the parks on a weekend, or you'd have to be there over a weekend and you couldn't go in the parks. So again, I don't go to that airport just because they need to fly more often. It's no fun. Oh, I love that Michaela just asked, have you ever drove and used the tunnel? Because, yeah, it's something I'd love to do, because I do think it is really, really handy. And I think the only thing that's put me off is the drive in one go. But again, maybe it's a case of driving to the tunnel and staying the night, because I think there's a lot of hotels nearby that are kind of quite affordable. And then, like, carrying on. But also, sometimes, like, I am someone that does like driving. So I think if you've got, like, a podcast on or, like, some good music, the time does kind of pass. So I definitely think that would be something to do. It would be so much fun. Joe says we all need a Most Magical Guys Disney meetup, and that's the thing. I think that would be such a joy to do a meetup in Disney, and that's definitely something I've thought about. And that's the thing. I'm like, I've got in my mind 2 days this year that I might be going back to Disneyland Paris. And I'm like, oh, do I like kind of put it out there that if anyone is around on those dates, we could do a meetup? Or if I feel bad, I don't want to tell people you've got to specifically come on that date, because I know how expensive it can be to go to Disney. But I'm like, it might be a good idea to be like, these are the dates that I'm there. And then to be able to do a meetup, because obviously Lisa and myself, we got to meet up in Disney World because we kind of did that. It was like, we're there at the same time. Whoever's there at the same time, let's all meet up. And that was so much fun. So I think we need to do that, because it's just so good. Or if not, even like planning next year a specific trip for a meetup, so people have much more advance warning, and they can kind of work out like work dates and stuff like that. I think that would be so good. Lisa says, or Efteling, and Jose says, from the south of the Netherlands, I could choose between driving myself, taking an international train with a transfer in Brussels, or first going to Amsterdam or Rotterdam to take the Eurostar. And that's really nice, isn't it? The fact you've got multiple options is fantastic. And how long does it take? Because I think it's really fun. Like, whenever I'm in Disneyland Paris, it's so nice when you get to meet different people. And I get to meet a lot of people from the Netherlands. And some people are like, oh, I'm just here for like a day trip. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Like, even though it's a lot of travel, it's so fun that you can just pop there for the day. And I'm like, this is fantastic. It's so good. Lisa said, can someone please sponsor Sophie to come meet me in Disney World in September? Thanks. That would be amazing, isn't it? It'd just be like, we need to do an on-demand, like, I need to go to Disney World at this time of year because it's very important we get to meet up again. That would be such a joy. Because this is the thing, I'm really, really hoping, what I would like to do is go back to Disney World next year, because it's my 40th birthday year. So at some point to do a trip over there, but it's all just going to come down to money. So I'm trying to like work out how I'm going to do it. And it could be like, I actually loved doing the week-long trip, and it could be doing something like that. I also would love to go to Epic Universe, because I haven't been, obviously, so I think that would be so good. But I'm like, right, we've just got to find a way to make this happen. It'll be so good. Yes, I always drive or take the transfer. If I have to go to Amsterdam first, the trip will be 2 hours longer. And yeah, that makes a big difference, doesn't it? That can add so much time onto your day. That's wild. And yes, Jose has said, come to Efteling, I could be your guide. And I totally remember this. And it's a park that I've always wanted to go to. And we need to make this happen. And it'd be wonderful to meet you up in person. And also, like, the expert, you're going to know the ins and outs, everything's going to be amazing to do. So we definitely need to make this happen. And then, like Lisa said, you'll be there in a heartbeat. So that could also be an option. We could be like, let's go to Efteling. It'll be so good. So yeah, this will be so much fun. Everyone, we've got to make it happen. We've got to do these trips. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, Disney is just such a lovely way to connect with people. And it blows my mind when I went to the preview, there were quite a few people that I got to talk to. And like, there was some people from the Netherlands, there were 2 different families from the US, there were people from, I think, Belgium. And I can't believe that there's people, like, all over the world watching my videos. It blows my mind. The wildest, when I was in Disneyland, so I'm all the way in California, and some people came up to me there and they're like, oh, we've seen your videos. And I'm like, how is this possible? And I think that's the amazing thing, that Disney can connect you with people from all around the world. And it's such a joy now because, like Jose was saying, if we get to go to Efteling, we're going to get to meet up in person. Like, and it's so lovely to know that you know people in all different places. And yeah, it's just such a joy. And it always blows my mind. I'm always like, I can't believe that, like, you're getting to interact with all of these people, and especially people that get Disney. Because sometimes, like, so me and my dad, it's like, sometimes we'll have like, we'll both listen to each other's interests, but it's like we have equal time to talk about the interests. And my dad really likes sports, so he'll tell me things that are going on in the sports world that I know nothing about, and then I'll tell him everything that's going on in Disney. And he's like, okay, and we do it, but like, there's no, like, I don't really know what's happening in the sports world, so you could say these things, but I don't know what it means. Same with Disney for him. I speak to people who are like, oh my god, this is so exciting, and this is happening, and then it's like, oh my god, or even stuff like, me and my friend Chris love to talk about what outfits we're going to take. And I don't think other people have these conversations, but when you're talking to Disney people, it is so exciting to think about, oh my god, like, I want to do this on this day, so I think I'm going to wear this clothes. And like, I just love it. And it's so nice to now have so many people. And a lot of people message me and they say, like, in their own lives, they don't have people that are super into Disney. So you don't get to have those conversations. So it's so nice that now we've all found each other and we can just be like geeking out over Disney and all the exciting things, which is just, yeah, it's just so much fun, isn't it? And yeah, hi, Anne-Marie, how are you doing? It's lovely to see you. And yeah, I'm just so excited. I think this is going to be such an exciting time for Disney in general, but definitely Disneyland Paris, because, like I say, it's been such a long time since we've had anything new. And where this has been on the horizon for 8 years, to know that it's finally here, and the fact that we're all going to say Disney Adventure World from tomorrow, I'll get used to saying all the new lingo. I just think it's going to be great. And it's just, oh yeah, I just think it's such an exciting time, because whenever there's something new to experience and explore, it's just so much fun. And I find that even when it's like a new menu change, so when they go, oh, we've got like whole new things you can explore, it's very exciting. Because you're just like, because even in the video, I was going like, oh my god, I don't know what to look at first, I don't know which way to go, and it's just so exciting because you're like learning all of these things as you go along. And yeah, I just think it's such an exciting time for us. And it's going to be so much fun. I cannot wait for other people to let me know what they think of everything. And it's going to be so fun. It's just going to be such a good time. And yeah, I just can't wait for... I'm looking forward to people experiencing World of Frozen. I am worried for how long the queues will be. But I think once it settles in, it's just going to be so wonderful. And I can't wait to see in winter what it's like. I really hope that for Christmas they decorate it, because I just think it will be next level incredible. Can you imagine? Like, it's going to be so good. It's just going to be lovely. And I think it's going to be like even more prettier. And I'm like, how are they going to do it? It's so good, and it would fit so well in the winter months. And interestingly, on the day I was there, because it was quite cold and windy and stuff, it did feel like it fitted Frozen, which was great. And yeah, it's just so much fun. It's so, especially the merchandise as well. It's too good. Honestly, the World of Frozen merchandise in particular is outrageous. It's so good. It's so amazing. So I think a lot of that's going to be super, super popular. I can't wait to see. I think the fleece is going to become like the next big thing. because I did succumb to getting the Sorcerer Mickey fleece, which it's great. And I have to say, I think they're such good quality because they're so warm and they're like fleece on the outside, but it's like a coat on the inside. And I don't want to keep saying it because I don't want Disney to hear, but I think €70 as well is quite affordable because, like, some of the things you see, like a purse is like €50, or a backpack is like €90, or a spirit jersey is like €85 sometimes. And then you're like, that seems quite reasonable for like a really thick coat that's perfect. But what's so funny now is, when I was there, about 60% of people had it. It's become like the uniform. If you go to Disneyland Paris, you've got to wear your uniform. And I absolutely love that about it. Downside, if you lose someone, it's going to be like, where's Wally? You're never going to find them ever again. Because every single person has got this same coat on. I think the Frozen fleece is going to be the next big thing, because it's very, very cute. And it's also something you could wear outside of, I mean, I wear Disney clothes everywhere. I don't mind. But people that are a bit more like, oh, I don't know, like the colours and stuff would be really nice wherever you wear it. And I'm like, oh my God. But I didn't buy it. Oh, actually, this is a good point. I do have my things I bought next to me. I completely forgot about this. First and foremost, I was so excited to see Olaf on a bag. So all of the new bags, the Adventure World bags, have Olaf on. And then I love that they also have the little different lands represented. But I was like, I didn't actually go crazy. I bought, obviously, the fleece. That was the big thing. And I didn't have basically any luggage space, which is why I just took this bag on the plane. I was like, just buy everything, put it in there. So I've only got little items, but one thing I had to get was a Olaf. He is a little keychain. He's like a bag charm, but I love that he's knitted. I don't know why, I'm just so obsessed with it. And they also had like big versions of him knitted. They had a knitted version of him with a jumper on, which was outrageous. And I was like, it's a good thing I don't have unlimited luggage allowance, because that would have been coming home with me. They've got a knitted Olaf headband. They've got a normal Olaf headband. They've got so many things. But I really loved the knitted Olaf. So I was like, I've got to come home with a little Olaf. I also got these amazing ears. These I think are so pretty. They're all embroidered. I just think they're so cute. And they also have a matching purse and lounge ride for these ears. So the ears are 35, the purse is 50, and I think the backpack is 90. If you could essentially have the whole set. And then on the back it says World of Frozen. But I just think these are so pretty. And that's what I think. There's a lot of merchandise. Like, there's also a really nice jacket that is black and white and it's embroidered, but it looks like if you were to go to Norway and you wanted to buy like a traditional coat, it looks like that. It's so nice, because sometimes, like, I don't know if you found like the 2025 range for Disneyland Paris, which was kind of like this graffiti style, I really didn't like it and it looked quite cheap. Whereas the stuff in World of Frozen looks expensive, and it also, I think you could wear it kind of anywhere and it would just look lovely. So yeah, I'm so excited for the little ears. And then I also got something that I shouldn't have got, because I've got too many of them, but I got a little mug. Oh God, the bag's going. I was so excited when I saw the mug, and the problem is the mug is €15, so I don't even think it's expensive. And I was just like, this is so cute. And I love a big mug as well, so it's quite a big size. And I was just like, this is outrageous. It's so cute. So I got a little mug. And then the one thing extra that I got is, for the preview, when you walked in, you got these sets of like giant postcards. And they're basically commemorative images to do with the expansion. And I think that was like a really nice little touch for if you went to the preview. So you've got the one that obviously shows you all of the lands. You also have the Walt and Mickey statue, which is so cute. And I have to say, I love this new background they have. I think this is a fantastic photo spot, but I love that they have all the different lands represented, which is so fun. You also got the new map, and I think this is actually really great, because this is where you can kind of see where they're going with Disneyland Paris. Like how this park, how Adventure World is going to have everything fit together. And like you can see, in the long run, the lake is going to be the central part, and then everything else will go around it, which will be fantastic. It'll be so good. You also have this Arendelle at night, which is It's so pretty. Honestly, guys, you're not ready. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's so good. You have Rapunzel's Tangled Spin, which again, at night when it's all lit up like this, ridiculous. Don't even start. It's absolutely amazing. And then you also have just this lovely view of Arendelle overall. And like I said, I do think it's one of the prettiest lands I've ever been in. It's absolutely stunning. There's so many photo spots, and I was really lucky. I didn't think I was going to be there as long as I was, but getting to see the sunset behind the castle, beautiful, and then at night with everything lit up was amazing. And I saw the show. It's called A Celebration in Arendelle. I think it was at 7:15. And it was perfect because the sun was setting as the show happened. And then as the show went on, the boats would light up. And I was like, oh my God, so this is the perfect time to kind of watch that as well. And like I say, the whole of Adventure World, and particularly like Adventure Way, World of Frozen, at night, when everything is lit up, is stunning. It's so good. But yeah, there were so many more things I could have come home with. Something else that I did do was I did buy some postcards. So in the shop, you can buy these postcards and they come with an exclusive Arendelle stamp. So it's €5 for the postcard and the stamp. The stamp can be sent internationally, absolutely anywhere in the world. And it is covered. And originally they did have a post box that you could put these in, and then you get the little stamp saying it was sent from Disneyland Paris. However, when I was there, Olaf had stolen the post box. Cheeky Olaf. Basically what happened, it was just so popular that it was like overflowing. So oh gosh. However, so when I went into the shop, they gave me a pen, so there and then I could write out my postcards, and then they let me know that they can take them from me and post it themselves. There is also a post box in Disneyland Park. So if you wanted to take the postcards away and write them in your room, you could do that. I'm assuming that the post box might come back because on Fridays, the day after I got back, they did a little video about the post box. So I'm like, oh, they're promoting the post box, so hopefully it will come back. But then again, they promoted Roaming Olaf, and he's not there. So I'm hoping it will come back and Olaf will return the post box, because I think that's a really nice touch. And to have these Arendelle specific stamps is wonderful. It's got Anna and Elsa on it, kind of like how you would have a normal stamp like in the UK with the Queen or the King on. It was like that, which I think is great. And actually I didn't even think about it, but what I should have done is bought one and just kept it for me so I could have the stamp. Am I becoming a stamp collector? What's happened? Guys, you are not ready. Something awful nearly happened this trip. I almost bought a piece of Stitch merchandise. Honestly, I thought, what has happened to me? What has happened in my life to get to this point? Well, I might think that's reasonable. And I have to say, it's a fleece. Now, this is the other problem. I can't keep buying fleeces. That's one of the reasons why I didn't buy the Frozen fleece. I was like, I can't buy multiple fleeces in one trip. But the colours, everything about it was perfection. It was Stitch. Now, admittedly, he was this big. He was tiny. He was just up here. Tiny. You wouldn't even notice it was Stitch. And I actually tried it on. And I was like, something bad has happened here. There's something going on. What are you doing? Now, admittedly, once I tried it on, I didn't like it. Which I was like, oh, thank God. We got away from it. But I did do this video recently of controversial Disneyland Paris opinions. And one of the comments that a lot of people left, their controversial opinion, is that the merch is not diverse enough. Not just that there's loads of Stitch merch, but in the shops you find a lot of the same merch in every single shop. And I was like, yeah, that is a really good point. And then I was like, is that what's happened? I've just seen all the merch now, and because there's no new merch, I've started going, Stitch merch looks nice. What's happened? I was like, this is worrisome. But luckily we avoided it. We didn't succumb. I'm still Stitch free. It's bonkers. Oh, I'm missing out on all of the different comments. Let's have a little look. Jose said it will take months, if not years, for me getting used to calling it Adventure World instead of the Studios Park, and 100%. Also, it's so easy to say Studios Park, whereas Adventure World feels like more of a mouthful. Takes longer to say. And I'm 100% with you. And even naming the different restaurants, the different shops. I think it's like a whole new lingo we're going to have to learn. So I'm sure it's going to be the thing where for ages people are just going to keep saying the wrong name. I still love it. There's still people that say Euro Disney. There's some people that still say MGM Studios instead of Hollywood Studios. I love when people are like, I'm not moving on, I'm staying with it. It's so good. And you've said you've also seen the Mickey fleece everywhere and you want to get it too, and it is so lovely. It's just such a lovely piece of merchandise, and it's perfect because what I would say is on the day I went to the preview, I had a t-shirt on and that fleece. I did have a jumper in my bag, but I was warm enough that I didn't need it. The only thing that was really cold was my hands, and that was because I had the camera and my phone out. If I put them in the pockets, they were warm. So I was like, this is actually a really warm coat. I was like, this is very impressive. So get it. If you see it, get it. The good news is it's now everywhere, because I did try it on last year and I didn't buy it. And then in the comments, everyone was like, why didn't you buy that? And I was like, yeah, I should have bought it. And then every trip, it was sold out. Couldn't find it anywhere. And I was like, I've ruined my life. What have I done? And then this trip, every single shop has loads of it. And I think what's good with the Frozen one, this is what I'm telling myself at least, I think they already know it's going to be super popular. So I feel like they will keep it continuously in stock. That's what I'm trying to convince myself of. This is, I kind of can't get myself to go to Disneyland Paris. I don't feel as connected to Disneyland Paris as Disney World. I don't know why. It's weird. And yeah, I think that's the thing. I think it's always so different. Like, I obviously started going to Disneyland Paris as a kid, so you have all of that nostalgia. And I do think it is a really beautiful park. It's really charming, has some of the best versions of the Disney rides. I love that it's much easier to walk around. So I think it is so worthwhile a visit. And I think it's interesting because you have two camps. There's people that have only been to like Disney World or other Disney parks, and then they come and they go, oh, it's much smaller, and maybe they're a bit disappointed. Or you have other people that go, oh my god, like, it's so charming, like they love the versions of the rides. So I think it's kind of a thing, once you go, you'll know which camp you're in. But yeah, I still find that whenever I go, I'm like, oh, it's so lovely. You definitely feel like the Disney atmosphere. And I do love it. It's just so easy to walk around. I also think all of the hotels are great. I don't think there's one bad hotel at Disneyland Paris. Like I say, I was so impressed with even staying off-site. I was like, this is wonderful. Like, yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? But I do get that when you have a park that you really like, because I think the thing is, I love Disney World, and if it was cheaper to go to, I would go to that much more frequently than I do. But I think what's really nice at Disneyland Paris is it is much more affordable for me to get to. So you're like, this is so much fun, I'm getting the Disney magic. And it's nice that you could do short trips as well. So I'm like, everything has its pros and cons. But yeah, I think it'll be really fun if you do ever visit. What do you think? Tracy says, I don't have friends that get Disney. I hate it. As you say, you want to get excited about the things, but you're with your friends, and they just look and say, you're going to Disney again. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, people that aren't Disney people or haven't been to Disney don't get it. But also, I always say this to people, every single time you go to Disney, I feel like it's a different experience, because there's either a different season on, so maybe you know, they've just brought back a million splashes of colour, Minnie's Dream Factory, which I went to see this trip, they've got that's brand new, or it's Christmas, it's Halloween, it's completely different themed, or you've got new things to experience, even if it's a new menu, a new restaurant, a new snack, or like this now, whole new lands. It's never the same trip, I don't find. I never ever feel like when I go to Disney it's a cut and paste trip from the last one. And I think people that aren't Disney people don't get that. Whereas maybe I have the opposite view, because I'm like, people that do like a beach holiday to the same hotel, same resort every year, I'm like, I feel like that doesn't change. And it's great because you're getting to unwind, disconnect, relax, and that's lovely. But I'm like, but Disney is always exciting. It's always different. So I'm so glad that we all get to connect so we can talk about these things, because it is just so exciting to be like, oh my god, this is what I'm excited for. And like you say, just when you're planning a trip, getting to talk to people who are just excited about your trip as they would be their own, which is so wonderful. And yeah, I think this is something a lot of people experience. They don't have Disney friends, within their normal friendship group. So it's lovely to have this now. And yeah, oh my god, the Olaf keychain, I'm obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed with him. And I don't know why, I'm just so obsessed with the knitted version. But I just think it's like, it's just so cute. I'm like, I love him. I love him. I'm obsessed. And they did have a little animatronic Olaf that you could speak to and he would speak back to you. It's a little toy, which I was like, that's really cute as well. Jose says, Lisa, I totally agree with you, except for Magic Kingdom. I'd rather go to Disneyland Park in Paris than go to Magic Kingdom. And oh, that's so interesting. Because I do hear a lot of people actually say that. And I think the difficulty with Magic Kingdom in Disney World is getting there and leaving, because it is a bit of a nightmare where it's kind of essentially on an island. And it's so difficult to leave because there's so many people all trying to get on transport, because you have to get on transport to leave in any capacity. But I love Magic Kingdom. I think it's like, to me, like the quintessential Disney park, apart from, sorry about that, Disneyland park in obviously California. That feels like the Disneyland park. But yeah, I do love Magic Kingdom. So I'd love to hear, like, what you don't like. Is it the fact that it's so difficult to get to and get away from? Or is there just a different vibe for you? Because, yeah, I think that's the thing. Like, I think Disneyland Paris, the castle is the most beautiful. I think the lands are great. Like, Frontierland, the theming is incredible. I love Discoveryland, where you have that Jules Verne look. I think it's amazing. So yeah, I think there's so many great things at Disneyland Paris. But yeah, I'm so much fun. Lisa says, Magic Kingdom is not the best part, but it's still incredible and it feels so magical. I didn't feel that in Paris and seriously want to feel that. Maybe Sophie needs to show me how to do Disneyland Paris. And I think there is something to be said of the nostalgia of it. So because I grew up going to Disneyland Paris, it's always so fun to go back. And if I'd never been to Disneyland Paris, if I'd only ever been to Disney World and then went to Disneyland Paris as an adult, you probably would feel a bit differently. But yeah, I do think it's just very, very beautiful. And like, there's something also, like, when you go in the mornings, I know they haven't done this because Disney literally can't control the weather, but it's so beautiful, the lighting. So everywhere you go, you get these incredible photos because it's just beautifully lit. And I'm like, I don't know how they're doing it. This is wonderful. This is so good. But yeah, I think sometimes it depends on, like you said, I think sometimes even who you go with can give you a different perspective. So we will have to go to Disneyland Paris and see if you feel differently. You just said, if they brought the People Mover, Jungle Cruise, Seven Dwarfs Mine Train to Disneyland Paris, I would never have to go back to Magic Kingdom. Not until the new lands are finished. Oh, and Happily Ever After. And that's so interesting. Because like you said, there are some like amazing rides. Here's the thing. Do you know what's weird? My probably favourite ride in Magic Kingdom is now Tron. I'm obsessed with Tron. The amount of time I think about Tron and watch Tron videos on YouTube is ridiculous. I'm obsessed with Tron. I love it. And yeah, like you said, the People Mover. The People Mover is just so iconic. It's so good. But yeah, Happily Ever After, oh, I can't even cope. To me, it's like the best fireworks show I've ever seen at a Disney park. It just has absolutely everything. The music, the Tinkerbell, like everything about it is amazing. And that's also the interesting thing. Now that you have Cascade of Lights, which is obviously a show designed around the drones, they removed the drones from Tales of Magic, which was also a show that was designed around the drones. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see Tales of Magic without it, to see the difference. I feel like it's going to be really lacking. I don't know if they will then add more fireworks or something to kind of make up for the drones, because I don't know how they're going to do the show without the drones, honestly. Like, they literally were, like, whatever projections were on the castle, say it's Toy Story, they were having Toy Story drones. I think if you get rid of the drones, it's fine, but it's not really a show properly. And the downside, obviously, with the drones is it's completely weather dependent. So there's 6 months of the year that I think the drones most likely won't fly. And I think that's the thing. I think the drone technology is wonderful, and I think it adds so much. Anytime I've seen the drones in shows in Disneyland Paris, I've always been wowed. So I'm so glad they do it. It's just such a shame that the weather is not as consistent, so it makes it difficult to know whether they will go or not. But I'm like, oh, but Happily Ever After, obsessed. You don't even need the drones. It's just such a good show. I just love it so much. And then you've also said that Disneyland Park is much more beautiful. Oh, sorry, I've scrolled too far. It's prettier than Magic Kingdom, and most of the same attractions are better in Paris than in Orlando. I do love Magic Kingdom though, but if I had to choose between Magic Kingdom and Disneyland Park, I would choose Disneyland Park. And yes, I think that's the thing. Like, I think you're so right. Like, Big Thunder Mountain is incredible in Disneyland Paris. The fact it's on its own island, not only is it visually stunning, but it is like that magic of how has that, like, how has the train got there? I think that's wonderful. I love the way Phantom Manor like looms over everything, and I love that it has its own storyline that totally fits in with the land. I think that's really, really cool. I think Space Mountain is definitely the best version in Disneyland Paris. There's loads of, I think Tower of Terror, the best version is in Disneyland Paris. So like you said, I think there are loads of great rides that are the best version, which is just, it's just so exciting. And yes, I love that you love the community, and it's so lovely, and it's so true, isn't it? Like, everyone is so friendly and so nice, and it's just like a warm hug. It's just such a joy. So I'm so lucky, and it's one of those weird things that I never anticipated. I kind of, when I started my YouTube channel, I thought, if I can give some tips and advice, they've been really helpful to me and have made my trips amazing. And I'm really lucky now that whenever I go, I have these incredible trips, and every time I'm like, I can't believe this. But it's literally just from knowing like the best way to get round and the cheapest way to do this and the best way to visit that. So I was like, if I can get those tips over to people and it helps improve their trip a bit, that would be amazing. And I never ever kind of thought about the fact that you'd end up connecting with so many people and having a community. And it's been the biggest and best thing that's come out of doing the videos. So it's such a joy, and it's just so lovely. And thank you all so much for whenever you join me, because I know you take all your time out of your evenings to come to these live streams. But it's so nice to get to chat in real time, which is wonderful. Jerry says, as I'm an Orlando local, and it took some time for Disneyland Paris to grow on me. Oh god, oh no, I've really lost the messages now. Here we go. At first I thought it was underwhelming. Now I love the charm and details. And I do think that's probably something that's quite common. If you have been going to Disney, I am obsessed that you live in Orlando, because it's the dream. Like, getting to go to, I would just never be in the theme parks. Sorry, not be out of the theme parks. There'd be almost no point in me having anywhere to live. I'd just be like, I'll just stay in a car. It's ridiculous. I just would be obsessed. But I think you're so right. If we're used to Disney World, because the scale is so massive, there's so many things to do. Obviously, like, the customer service and everything is a completely different experience. So that is really wonderful. I think when you go to Disneyland Paris, you're like, oh, it's so much smaller and stuff like that. And I think you would notice the difference. But like you say, when you can kind of like get used to that and then go, oh, actually this is the thing I really like, and oh, I think that looks really charming, you can kind of start then appreciating the park, which is lovely. I think it's something similar that people experience when they go to Disneyland and they see the castle, because it's like a Diddy version of the castle. People are like, where is it, when they're looking down Main Street. And sometimes I think people can be a bit underwhelmed, but then once you kind of go, oh, I know it's going to be like a smaller castle, but it's the original and stuff like that, you learn to then appreciate it. So I think you're sometimes right that you need to kind of just have your initial reactions to things, and then over time you get used to them and like start feeling a different way about things. So I totally agree. But yeah, oh my god, what a dream to be living in Orlando. It's so exciting. Oh, this is wonderful. Never been to Disney World, but been to Disneyland Paris and Disney Sea. I will go one day. And oh my god, Disney Sea looks next level. I think it looks like the best Disney park in the world. It just looks so good. And I'm desperate to get out to the Asian park. But again, it's just like, once we have the budget, we will go. We'll make it happen. And they just look incredible. Just so good. And I was saying this to people before, like, something Disney do really well is making parks feel familiar, but also giving them their own cultural identity. So I love that when you go down Main Street, you know what you are experiencing. It feels familiar. But then all of the parks will have their own little differences that gives them their own unique personality. And I think that's so clever, because it must be quite hard to do, to make something feel familiar and unique at the same time, which I just think is amazing. Oh, this is a great question. How would you rank all 6 of the main Disney parks just based on personal preference? And this is so difficult because I've not been to the Asian parks. I find it so difficult because obviously I see things and I'm like, look, I think Tokyo looks like it would be incredible. And I think it could easily become number 1. I'd be like, I need to do this. I need to absolutely do this. It's incredible. But I think it's so hard, isn't it? It's so hard. I do think, do you know what? I actually think you need to go like a deeper dive and rank all of the parks individually. So like Disneyland, Disney California Adventure, Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood. I think you need to go and like do all of them individually, and then you'll get a better sense of what parks are good. Because there's some places that I think one park shines more than the other. So like Disneyland Paris has always had that issue that the Studios park never shined as much. I do think they're obviously trying to correct that now with having this big expansion, which I think will be great. But I'm like, oh my gosh, this is such a good question. I'd love to know what everyone else ranks things. Maybe I could rank the ones that I've been to, because that would probably be the easiest. I do think my favourite park itself is Disneyland Park in California. I think that's absolutely incredible, next level, absolutely awesome. I do then think probably it's Magic Kingdom for me, because to me it's always felt like the most Disney park. And again, there might be a nostalgia element to it because like I'm old. It makes me feel old when I talk about like when I was going to Disney, like Animal Kingdom didn't exist, like all of these things were like new. So it makes you feel really old because you're like, well, when I used to go, they didn't have that many parks. So having that nostalgia of going to Magic Kingdom and it being the castle park, I think that will always have a tie for me. And then it makes me think, I don't want to put Disneyland Park next, because then it makes me sound like I'm just obsessed with these parks that look specifically like that. But maybe it would be. I do really love... Oh, see, I used to love Hollywood Studios, probably the second most in Disney World. But I think now I love Epcot. As a kid, I used to just think, what is this park? Because there would be a few rides at the front, and then just like we're walking around. As an adult, I'm obsessed with World Showcase. Like just getting to walk around, eat and drink, meet people from different countries, get to buy things from all around the world. I'm obsessed with it. So I think Epcot would probably be my 4th park. I'd probably then put Hollywood Studios, because I love Galaxy's Edge. I love Toy Story Land. Tower of Terror I think is so fun. I think it's going to be really interesting with the updates to this park, where obviously you're going to have the Monsters Inc. land. That's going to be really interesting. I'm hoping they'll do more with the Muppets. Like, once the Villains Land's open, I'm hoping that show will turn into a Muppet show, which would be so good. I think probably... it's difficult because the last 3 parks, I feel bad. I don't really want to put any park in last place. Do you know what I think is difficult? I think my last place would be the Studios park. I think World of Frozen is incredible, and it's almost like World of Frozen needs to be separate. Because I think the Studios park still has that identity crisis, and there's a lot of rides that I kind of don't go on every trip in that park. I do love that it has loads of shows though, and I do think the shows are really good. But I do think World of Frozen is stunning, and if that's the direction that park is going in, it's gonna go up the ratings more. I would say, I'm trying to think, I think I probably do like DCA a bit more than Animal Kingdom as well. Just because I love Radiator Springs there. I love Avengers Campus because it feels really alive. And that's something, again, the Studios Park, I think when Avengers Campus launched that first year, you had all of the shows, you had all the roaming characters all the time. And now, I don't see any of that ever. And I'm like, because that's also a land with a theme where you're supposed to be at the Avengers Campus, learning how to become an Avenger yourself. Once you get rid of those elements, you kind of miss that storyline. So I think, again, that's kind of why I think it's more an operational issue, honestly. And I've said this, I think the biggest problem with Disneyland Paris is the operational side of it. Because like we say, they've got like amazing rides. It's absolutely beautiful. But it's just stuff like if you get rid of the main elements of that, then you've lost the story in Avengers Campus. Like, why would you do that? It doesn't make sense. But yeah, I'm so interested. It's always interesting hearing people's rankings, isn't it? Because then you get a sense of the things they really like. But there's not been a Disney park that I've been to and disliked, though, which I think is really, really good. Because there are places sometimes you go and you go, oh, I probably wouldn't go back there. Or I'd go to this park, but I'd skip that one. Whereas all of them, I'm like, oh, actually, I really enjoyed all of them. I would happily go to any of them at any given moment. Yep, I think you're so right. Disney Paris has so much charm and cute tiny details, and even stuff like being able to go in the castle and see like the stained glass windows or the dragon underneath is such a unique experience. So I like love those touches. And I'm totally with you. The steampunk vibe of Discoveryland is amazing. Recently, I was talking with someone and they were like, oh, I hate that. They need to get rid of that. And I was like, they must never get rid of that. I think it makes it so unique, but I just think it looks so cool. And I'm like, please keep that forever. Please don't get rid of that. Jose said, I would love to go to Disney Sea. I'm hoping to go next year in 2028, and that would be so much fun. I cannot wait to hear what you think. But it just looks wonderful, doesn't it? And I just think it's so unique. There's so many cool things there to experience. And yeah, it's just nuts. And Lisa said, I've got my fingers crossed for you. Disney Tokyo is one of my favourite parks in the whole world, and Disney Sea is incredible. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, they've done it so well. And yeah, it just looks next level incredible. And you're like, oh, I know, I love it. And everyone's saying you're going to adore Disney Sea. It's incredibly detailed. So many amazing rides. Yeah, this is the thing. Oh my god, I'm loving it. We're getting to everyone's rankings as well. Oh, I mean, oh god, I've scrolled too far again. And yeah, oh, don't even start about the merch. This is another problem. I'm like, I need to win the lottery to go to Tokyo because I will want to buy everything. Because not only is the merch super cute, it's also really affordable. And I'm like, well, don't do that. Because that's sometimes the reason that puts me off buying things. I think that's too much. Whereas if you make it affordable, you could go bankrupt. It's just terrible. It's just no fun. But yes, you're so right. They have amazing characters as well. I love that Duffy and his pals have become like even more popular than Mickey in the Asian parks, and now we're starting to see Duffy occasionally in other places. So I love that like Duffy's creeping in, and I'm like, oh, I really want to get into. But the problem is, I feel like if I start really getting into Duffy and his pals, then I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole and need to buy all the merch. And you know, like sometimes, so like pins, I stay away from pins because I'm like, this is a money pit. If I get into pins, it's just gonna be nuts. So sometimes you have to be selective and like, right, I just have to put blinkers on and not look at certain things. And I feel like Duffy is one of those things. So I'm like, if I start getting involved, it's going to be a big problem. Oh, that's very exciting. Lisa said, if everything works out, you'll go to Disneyland California next year, and that would feel surreal. And yes, that would be absolutely, it's such a dream. It is so good. I cannot wait to hear what you think. It's just amazing. And like, you really do feel like Walt's presence, which I think is so nice. And yes, I think this is a great question. If I wonder if Disney parks will make fountain shows more of a thing with the fireworks. And I think that's what's really great because it works so well in World of Colour. And Disneyland Paris, the main park, have kind of experimented with that. And obviously Cascade of Light, that's going to be the big feature. And combining that with the drones, I think is going to be so unique. And that is something, again, that I love about Disneyland Paris. Disneyland Paris is often a testing ground for the rest of the parks, certainly the American parks. So the drone technology came to Disneyland Paris first. They then did a drone show in Orlando. They only did it for 1 year, and I think it's purely because Disney Springs, again, it was a place where there was very narrow areas to watch the show, and then leaving became a nightmare. So I think they have kind of stopped that for that reason. But like Disneyland Paris had Premier Access first, and then they were kind of testing out, do you do it per ride or the one which features everything, which obviously Disneyland Paris now offers both of those. And then Disney World have kind of done a similar version, but kind of not. You've got the multi-pass where you can go on all of the rides for a more affordable price, but you have to book the time slots, or you can pay for Premier Pass where you can just go on everything that you want to without doing a time slot. So I do love that Disneyland Paris, they kind of test things out there. It's like a testing ground, which is always really interesting to see, and then where it ends up going in the other parks. Cherry has said, I've been to all the Disney parks and home in Tokyo are the best in my opinion, which is so good to hear. And yeah, I just cannot wait to experience them all. Because that's the thing, isn't it? We all want to tick off all of the lists. Like, I need all of the castles. It's going to be amazing. Cherry says Tokyo is insanely busy though. And yes, I've seen this. And I've seen a lot of people, they do the packages where you can also get like the fast pass included in your package. And that seems to be the way forward. And I feel like when I get out there, it will be that thing of you want to stay in one of the hotels and you want to do the package where you get like all the bells and whistles so that you know you're going to have like the full experience whilst you're there. Because yeah, I can only imagine. I remember once I was working in the Disney store when it was Mickey's 90th birthday, and we were hearing what was going on in all the different parks, and the queue to meet Mickey in Tokyo on his birthday was 16 hours long, and I was like, that is a long queue. That's a very long queue. So I love that people are really dedicated, but I'm like, I don't think I would queue for 16 hours for anything. I don't think there's anything on earth. Unless they said if you stand in this queue for 16 hours, you'll get £1 million. I'd go, okay, fine. Fine, I'll do that. I can stand. I don't even think I could stand for 16 hours if I'm honest. I think I failed at the first hurdle. So yeah, in the parks, I can only imagine how busy it gets. And we've all seen like the crazy like Fantasy Springs stuff, and you're like, oh my god, and like people getting there like the early hours of the morning. It's just bonkers. Jose said, I'd love to do the Asian parks in one big trip. Then I only have Disneyland left, leaving the original for last. And that would be so lovely, wouldn't it? And I love that you've already got the order that you want to visit in your mind. But I'm the same as you. I think doing the Asian parks in one big trip would be wonderful. And a lot of people have said, actually, doing like those 3 parks in like a 2-week trip is cheaper than going to Disney World for 2 weeks. And that blows my mind to think that, because you're going to different countries, you go to 3 different destinations, like the Disney hotels are much more affordable there, like it's just incredible. So I'm like, this is going to be amazing. Yeah, Lisa said, I want to achieve like going to all the parks before they build the one in Dubai because I really don't want to go there. And I think this is the other thing. I think this is so divisive. I think it's really interesting that Disney have gone completely quiet on it, because obviously at the moment, because of what's happening with the US in Iran, the UAE is being heavily bombed. Are we still building a park in Abu Dhabi? Do we still think that's the right move for Disney? I think it's really interesting they've not kind of addressed anything, but I do think Disney are very like that. They kind of, if there's any controversy or anything going on, they never ever address it. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, but they're always very quiet with those things. But yeah, I'm the same as you. It's not a park that I want to visit. So, and it's I've heard a few people say they're not even going to acknowledge its existence. So like people are going to be like, there's still the 6 like castles that I want to see. But like you say, if you get to do all 6 castles before it's built, you can definitely say you did it. You did all of the Disney parks. So yeah, but it's difficult, isn't it? I think that's so interesting because it's been so controversial. Disney have never really addressed any of the concerns people have, and I feel like at some point they do have to do that, because it's not like concerns about like small things, it's concerns about like people's right to exist and like safety and stuff, and you just think, oh god, like they're gonna have to at some point say something. And also I mean, we've had this discussion before, but it to me it just feels very strange that Disney on the one hand will have like pride events, and you know they kind of went to war with Ron DeSantis in Florida over the don't say gay thing. And then they're like, but we're going to open a park in a country where it's illegal to be gay. And you just go, well, hang on. Those 2 things can't coexist. So which lane are you in? Are you rainbow washing so that you can make money off of pride, but you don't actually care? But then they went to war with Ron DeSantis, which kind of shows they do care. They put their money where their mouth is. But then that you can't open a park in Abu Dhabi. So I don't know. I think Disney are going to have to address it, especially now, obviously, where there's a war going on, like, and they are targeting tourist destinations and hotels. Disney would surely be a target. So I'm like, should we be building a park there? It feels like it's probably not the best place, maybe. It's just so difficult. So I also, I would love it if Disneyland Paris opened one in the UK. And I always think it's interesting because when they were looking at Disneyland Paris, they looked at the UK, France, and Spain. Those were the 3 destinations. And I think they went with France in the end because it had the best transport connections. I was always surprised they didn't pick Spain because it had much more reliable weather. And I think that's the thing. I would be surprised if they opened another Disney park in Europe. But then it would be so much fun because we just want all of the Disney parks to be close by, isn't it? That would be amazing. But I'm very excited for Universal coming to the UK because it's just like, oh my gosh, that's very exciting. Like, and the UK doesn't really get like big things like that. Like, obviously we have the Merlin parks, we have independent theme parks here, but Universal is like, the level of Universal is completely different. I am actually interested to see what will happen with Merlin. Because Merlin are already kind of struggling, and this must have been like a really big blow for them. And also the simple fact that Universal UK is going to be a year-round destination, whereas all other UK theme parks are shut all over like winter. There's like a 5-6 month period where they're not open. So like, I'm so excited to see what's going to happen. It's going to be bonkers. Jose said, oh, also Dubai doesn't sound appealing to me, and I think this is the thing, isn't it? I think, you know, there is a debate. A lot of people will say, but it's not made for us. Like, they're not trying to target Westerners. This is very much a park for people that live in the Middle East. So, on the one hand, like, you know, essentially Disney aren't actually really having anything to do with it. They've given away the rights, but they're not building it. They're not operating it. They're completely hands off. Which I think for Disney was a really attractive offer because they got loads of money and then they don't have to do anything for it. But it also means they can, if there is any controversy, they can go, but it's not to do with us. You'll have to take it up with the people that own the park. So yeah, I just think it's interesting, isn't it? Like, what's going to happen with that? And like, yeah, I do get when people are saying, you know, it's not for us. It's not for you. So don't go. Which I can understand. But it's also, to me, it's not even about, you know, different views in different countries and stuff like that. Is that, should Disney as a brand be opening in a country which seemingly goes a lot against a lot of the values they say they stand for? That's my issue, essentially. It's not even about like the country and everything itself. So I'm like, oh, it's just a minefield. It's so difficult. Jose said, if I rated the parks I've been to, I would say first place is between Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. Second is Disneyland Paris Park. Third is Magic Kingdom. Fourth is Epcot. And fifth is the Studios Park. I love seeing people's rankings. It's so exciting to see what people love. Lisa said yours is Tokyo Disneyland, Epcot, Hollywood Studios. No, sorry, Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Animal Kingdom, Disneyland Paris, Hong Kong, then the Studios Park. It is interesting, isn't it? I feel like it's a universal given that the Studios Park is probably the least popular. I think it's probably because it's one of the smallest and it's had this identity crisis for a long time. And like I say, what's really interesting with World of Frozen opening, World of Frozen feels like a next level land. It probably feels like the most stunning land in the whole of Disneyland Paris. But then, like I say, it very much looks like this is the new part of the park versus the old park. So I do feel like it's going to be hard to get the Studios Park up the rankings. Lisa said Hong Kong Disneyland was so tiny when I was there in 2016. Maybe now it's different. Maybe I should go back. I think you're going to have to go back. That's the only way to find out whether something is good or not. But let's have a little look. Oh, this is so exciting. Don't talk to me about Gelatoni because I've already decided Gelatoni's my favourite character as well, with Duffy and his pals. And I can't go down that route because I'm going to buy everything to do with Gelatoni. It's such a problem. It's a good problem to have, but it is such a problem. And Lisa said, I'd rather be somewhere in Disneyland Paris than any other theme park, even though Phantasialand and Efteling are great. And yes, that's the thing. They're also parks that I would like to visit. I'd like to go to Europa Park as well. Oh, there's so many things to visit. And I'm like, we need an endless supply of money. We need a money tree. When they talk about the money tree, I'm like, yes, how do we get them? How do we make that a real thing? because that would be iconic. Hi Rob, lovely to see you. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us. This is a great question. Do you think Disneyland Paris will get a new daytime parade soon to replace Stars on Parade? If so, what would your dream floats be? I think this is great because Stars on Parade has been around for 10 years at this point. It might even be a bit longer. So it's almost like a third of the length of the time Disneyland Paris has been open, you've had that parade, which is wild when you put it in like those terms. So I think it would be good to have like a refresh. I have to say, it's one of those shows that I've watched properly, like once. I've caught it a few times when I've been in the park and it's about to happen, so I watch it. But it's never one I go out of my way to watch. This trip, I was in Waltz when it happened, and I really enjoyed it. And I think just being able to sit and look out the window and not be like fighting in the crowd was great. But I think now that Disneyland Paris have got these new style of parades, where they have the show in the castle hub, they totally outshine Stars on Parade. So I feel like they do need to update Stars on Parade. I think it would be really good if they kind of had a mixture of like the classic people. Obviously, you need to have like a really beautiful float with Mickey and Minnie and all of the classic pals on. I don't want it, but they're going to have Stitch, aren't they? They're going to have a Stitch float because people are obsessed with Stitch. Although I have to say, who are these people? Because I don't know anyone that is a huge Stitch in the sense that they go to Disneyland Paris and they buy all the merch. I don't know who this person is. Because there's got to be someone, because they're making all the merch for someone. But who is it? Because I don't know anyone that's buying the merch. But they're going to have a Stitch float, whether I like it or not. They have to have princesses, because Disneyland Paris is interesting to me. It seems like in Disneyland Paris, the princesses are the most popular characters, which is probably why we've now got like 3 princess character dining locations. You can see them at the Disneyland Hotel. Obviously, you can meet them in the Princess Pavilion. So you've got to have that. But I think they could make a more magical float. I do have to say, though, the one float that I think is really good in Stars on Parade is the Peter Pan one, where you have the moving ship. I think if they had more elements like that, it would be a really exciting parade where you have like people doing acrobats and stuff like that. I think it would be really, really cool. But I'm trying to think, who else could they have? I mean, I know they do it in Halloween, but I really love when you have like the Phantom and Melanie. I loved that, because if you could have like characters from the different lands in the park that are represented, I think that would be really cool. And so I think they need something to be represented from Frontierland. But I suppose the interesting thing is there's no Disney characters linked to that land, if that makes sense. Which I never really thought about until we've discussed this. Whereas, like, for example, like Discoveryland, although he's like a bit of an outlier, you do have Buzz Lightyear. So that you go, okay, perfect, he makes sense in that land. But there is no actual rides to do with characters in Frontierland. You do have meet and greets in their like fun cowboy costumes, but I'm like, that's a good point. But I'd love it if you would have one that had all of the different lands represented. And I would like it if they did like French. I'm always saying this, I want French characters. Like, we need the Aristocats, we need Hunchback of Notre Dame, we need Beauty and the Beast. We need like all of these French IPs to be represented. So I love I love Beauty and the Beast, but I also love Hunchback of Notre Dame so much. And I'm like, please, can we have more of that? Because it's just, the music is so good. It's so good. We need more of it. And what's really interesting is sometimes on the 6th of January, when it's King's Day in France, they do have some Hunchback of Notre Dame things happen in the park. Like Chopin might be around, which I think is really, really cool, because obviously it also ties to France and that holiday. But I'm like, we need him all year round, because I think that would be so much fun. If you had like a topsy-turvy float, I think that would be really, really cool. I'm like, oh my god. I also would love Ratatouille, but I know that is in the other park. But I'm obsessed with Ratatouille. I think it's one of my favourite Pixar films. I'm like, it's ridiculous. It's so good. Who's a chef? It's just awesome. So yeah, it's just so hard, because there's just so many good things they could pick from. But I do like, that is something I do like about Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, is they will have floats to do with rides. They have Phantom Manor and stuff like that. And not Phantom Manor, Haunted Mansion. I think that's really cool, because obviously you want to see your favourite characters during the parade, but if you can incorporate the parks themselves, I think that's really, really awesome. But yeah, is there any floats you would like to see, or characters that you think they don't utilise enough. Because yeah, there's definitely characters that are underrepresented, isn't it? You're like, we could do more with this person. I can't believe the ears are like €13 in Tokyo, because this is going to be lethal. We're not going to be able to stop buying things. It's so bad. Oh, this is interesting. I remember when I was younger, Duffy, I think, was in the Disneyland Paris parade. I think it was Magic on parade, and he was on the Mickey Fantasia float, which I think has been turned back into the Princess Garden. Do you know what? Now you've said that, I'm starting to feel like I might have seen him. It's interesting because they are starting to add him into more of the parks, and sometimes he was like a guest character. So in Disney World, in their Jollywood Nights Christmas party, Duffy makes an appearance. But now I'm starting to think that I feel like this was a thing that happened. But yeah, I would love it if you could kind of... This is the thing, I would love it, but also my bank would not love it. Because I'm like, I know I'm going to get so into it. And that's it. I'm going to need all the merchandise, all of the ears, all of the accessories. Like you say, Gelatoni, I'm already obsessed with him. And I'm like, no, this is not fair. Oh my gosh. Tracy said, I've been to Disney Paris the last 3 years, but this year I did Disney World, hoping to go back there again next year. I cannot pick because I love all the parks. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's like trying to pick your favourite child. Not that I have children, but I imagine it's very difficult when you're like, but they all have the different personalities, which is exactly the same for the parks. And there's just nothing like it, is it? They're just so wonderful to go and visit. And they just give you such a good feeling. Oh, Cherry, I love that you've got your ranking. So you've got Disneyland in Anaheim is number 1, Tokyo Disneyland number 2, Disney Sea, Disneyland Paris, Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Hollywood Studios, DCA, Animal Kingdom Studios Park. I think that's really interesting because that's quite similar to the exact rankings I had, apart from obviously I haven't been to the Asian parks. So I think that's really, really interesting to see, because it's so fun to see the similarities and differences between everyone's favourites. And that's the thing, Lisa said Animal Kingdom's being done dirty, which is true, because it is such a beautiful park. And I don't agree with the whole it's a half-day park. I think if you're treating it as a half-day park, you're missing out on so much. I think people that think it's a half-day park only do the rides. I think they don't do any of the experiences, the shows. Like, I think they're missing out on a lot of the park. But yeah, I think it's so, so beautiful. But I think it has one of the least amount of things to do in it compared to other parks. But then it has like amazing lands. So I'm like, it's hard. It's so hard because they're all so good. Yes, I said, I always think it's funny that people rate Animal Kingdom quite low or say it's a half-day park. Yep, I love that park. All the different opinions are great. And it's really interesting because I know some people who it's the first park they'll always go to when they go to Animal Kingdom. It's the park they'll visit the most because they like that it's a bit more chilled out and that it's not just heavily ride-focused. So yeah, I think it's so true, isn't it? Because you get to see what people like to do during their Disney trip. And like I was saying, I think people that say it's a half-day park, they're ride-focused people. So they don't care about the other things. I think people that love Animal Kingdom like the fact that you've got the whole thing combined rather than just focusing on one thing. And yeah, I just think it's such a beautiful park. I'm really interested to see the new Latin American land. I think that's going to be really great. I'm really looking forward to the Encanto ride. I think that looks beautiful. I am super sad about Dinosaur because I love that ride and I think it's so iconic and I love that it was original. I have to say, I do love the Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland. I do think it will be great in Animal Kingdom. But I think it's sad that Disney now are focusing so much on IP and not any original ideas. And then some of the original things are getting removed. I'm like, no, because like letting the imaginations run wild and create these things that became iconic is so good. So I'm like, please don't get rid of all of them. Please keep some of them. But yeah, I'm really interested to see that land in general. I think it's going to be really beautiful. Lisa said Nomad Lounge alone puts it higher on the list. And yeah, that is something really nice, isn't it? When you get to kind of just relax and unwind. It's a beautiful setting, great food. It's so good. I have to say, I am obsessed with Tiffin's because I liked the food a lot. But the fact that Tiffin's, and also if you go in Nomad Lounge, it's kind of the same experience. They are like museums. They're not just restaurants. And when I was there, I saw a notebook with drawings in it. So I said to my server, I was like, is that Joe Rohde's book? And she was like, yes, it is. And I was like, oh my God. Because Joe Rohde is my favourite Disney Imagineer. And I was like, I cannot believe I'm looking at Joe Rohde's actual drawings. And then she was like, oh, would you like me to do a tour? And she gave me a whole tour all around Nomad Lounge and Tiffin's, showing me all the different artifacts that they had collected when they'd actually gone to research the different countries and continents that are represented. And it was a joy. It was so amazing. And that's something, again, I think Disney do so well. Not only do they theme their restaurants, but if they can, like, make it an attraction in itself, they will. And that's the thing, I feel like no one else is on the level of Disney, just with the amount of attention to detail they do to things. That's something I forgot to mention. The music in World of Frozen is unbelievable. The soundtrack is so good because they've got all of the songs from Frozen that you know and love. They have instrumental versions, but what they will do is they'll have like 5 different versions. So you'll hear Let It Go in 5 different ways. And I was obsessed with the music. It's the one thing that I really, really picked up on. Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So yeah, I can't wait for people to experience that. I'm also really excited that at some point someone is going to make one of those videos on YouTube. Like, I don't know if you do this or if, you know, this is just a Disney thing and normal people don't do this. But there's videos people have made of like the soundtracks for each of the lands. So sometimes if I've got to do something that's like kind of like repetitive or boring, I don't really want to do it, I'll put on like the music from Tomorrowland in Magic Kingdom, or like the Epcot music, and it just makes your day much better. So I'm hoping eventually someone will do that for World of Frozen, because the soundtrack is incredible. It's so good. So Lisa said, my real problem with Animal Kingdom is that it's a zoo and I would never go to a zoo in real life. And yes, I've actually seen a lot of people feel conflicted about it, and it's also something I've been conflicted about, because I'm the same as you. I don't visit zoos or aquariums. And that's why when I did the Caring for Giants tour, I was like, I'm really interested to see how they are looking after the animals, because, you know, there is a heavy focus on conservation, and I do like this, a very educational park. But essentially, although they are good at making sure, you know, there's not cages and stuff, it is essentially a zoo, which is really difficult. But what I did like about the Caring for Giants tour was them talking about the different ways that they monitor if the animals are stressed, the fact that the on-stage areas, they actually also have lots of backstage areas. So if they don't want to be like on the savannah or something, they've got backstage areas, and they all have their own like bedroom. So if they actually want to get away from the other animals, they can go and have their own space. And it made me feel more comfortable, because yeah, I think in an ideal world, like, there would be no zoos, but if there are places that are going, this is the thing, if Disney were just doing it for conservation, so they've rescued an animal that was being kept as a pet or illegally or could not survive in the wild, I think that's fine. The thing I think is difficult is that they do breed animals, and I think breeding animals to be in captivity probably shouldn't be done. But it's so difficult, because it's one of those things, like, I won't go to SeaWorld, I won't talk to people about SeaWorld. Like, in my business, when people, like, they're like, oh, we think about going to SeaWorld, give me tips and advice, I'm like, I literally don't know, because I don't visit. It's, you know, something that I really strongly... And the thing is, SeaWorld, a lot of people talk about they have amazing roller coasters, and I'm like, they could have all of that without the animal cruelty. And I don't know why they have the whales still. I just think it's crazy. And to me, I do feel there's a big difference between somewhere like Animal Kingdom and SeaWorld. But you were so right, it is difficult, because it is essentially a zoo. And I do think they do treat the animals better. They do have their welfare in mind. But then they also breed and stuff. So it's difficult, isn't it? It's so hard. There's so many things in the world you have to be sad about these days. And I'm like, I can't cope with all of the things we have to fill. There's too many things. Cherry says, do the package in Tokyo, otherwise we're waiting 120 minutes or more for nearly everything. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, particularly when you're going so far for something, it's so worthwhile spending extra so that you can just have the experience, we can fit in as many things as possible. Jose says, I have a sense of freedom in Animal Kingdom. It's so open and there's lots of quiet spots. I like it. And that I totally agree with, because it is like, it doesn't feel cluttered or like you're hemmed in anywhere. There's just so much nature. Like you said, there's like lots of like quiet spots where you can just take it all in. And I think that's so nice. There is something I think nice about being surrounded by like trees and plants, and there's something calming about that. And I do think that's why Animal Kingdom is such a great park in Disney World, because the other parks are quite full on and hectic. And then there is this sense of tranquility in Animal Kingdom, which is so lovely. So yeah, it's just it's interesting. And yeah, it's so funny because I know some people won't go to Animal Kingdom because it's a zoo, but they go to SeaWorld, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then there will definitely be people that go, but you go to Animal Kingdom, so what's the difference? And it's just difficult, isn't it? It's so hard. But yeah, I totally agree. I think it's been really interesting what Merlin do, particularly because they have to be shut for so many months of the year. Like financially, they can't compete with Universal, because Universal is just such a huge company. And obviously, the problem is when Universal open here, everything's going to be state of the art because it's a brand new park. And I think that's going to be so difficult. And it'll go one of two ways. It will either completely kill off Merlin and UK theme parks, which would be awful because you do need them, and there are so many iconic parks, or it might help boost them if people come to the UK to go to Universal, but then maybe they stay in London, so they think, oh, I'll go to Thorpe Park, that's close by. You know, they could help them, which I hope is what happens. But yeah, I mean, the like scale of the parks and like the quality, they're not going to be able to compete, because Universal just have so much more finance behind them and like the experience of making amazing theme parks. But I'm just so excited. I can't wait, especially because they're going to have Halloween Horror Nights, and I'm like, don't start. I already know in my mind I'm going to go and stay in a hotel for a few nights and go to Halloween Horror Nights multiple nights in a row. And I'm like, I might just move to Bedford. It's probably easier at that point, just move there. Just go there all the time. It'll be so much better. Yeah, Cherry says UK residents love Disney World. They probably know that they make a lot of money off of UK residents coming to Orlando. And yeah, it's so true. Like, people in the UK are obsessed with Disney World. Like, when people talk about Disney, they're mostly talking about Disney World, I think. And that's like kind of the dream for everyone to go to. And do you know what's really interesting though? When the pandemic was happening, there was loads of talk about, obviously, for a long time, international tourists couldn't visit because, you know, nobody could travel. And so when Disney World reopened, originally, obviously, it was locals. And then as states started to open up, you could get out-of-state people visiting. And then it took a long time for international tourists to come back. And I don't know if this is still true, but at that time, they were talking about only 15% of guests to Disney World are international. And that really shocked me, because like you said, the amount of British people that go, and then when you're out there, like, you meet people from Germany, you meet people from Brazil, you meet people from all around the world. I couldn't believe that we make up only 15%. But I think it also makes sense because Disney World is so huge, and obviously if you live in the US, it's a huge destination to want to go on holiday. And I was just like, and especially, you know, it is expensive for international guests to go to Disney World. So it does make sense that it's only 15%. But I was like, I would have thought that was so much higher. And I don't know if that has changed. But yeah, I think that's so interesting. And Jose says most European visitors book through the English and Irish website, which is so true, because then you can access the deals. And it's always blown my mind that other Disney websites in different countries don't have these offers. It's just crazy. But I'm so glad that people can book via the UK and Irish sites to get those access to those deals, because it just makes the trips way more affordable. Because otherwise, I don't know how people, if you had to pay full price for everything and there's no offers, I don't know how anyone would afford to go. It's nuts. Jose, I'd rather wait for a million splashes of colour than Stars on Parade. 100%. And I managed to see Stars on Parade just before I left, and I just remembered how much I loved it, and the music was amazing. And I'm totally with you. Like, I love these castle hub shows as well. I think it's great, and you get to see so many characters from it, and yeah, 1,000,000%. I just love it so much more. I'm so glad you agree. I'm surprised how popular Stitch is in terms of merch. Like, he's fine and all, but he's that popular. If anything, I would have expected Marie to have more merch in Paris than Stitch. That's so true. There's definitely not enough Marie merch, and I'm like, she's an icon. She's French, one. Incredible. But like you say, for the amount of Stitch merch there is, you would think that everyone in Disneyland Paris would be wearing Stitch merch, but I never see anyone in anything. So I'm like, who is buying this? Because there's so much of it, but I just never see anyone wearing it. And I don't know anyone myself that buys it. So I'm like, apart from nearly me, when I had some sort of like nervous breakdown apparently in this trip where I nearly bought something Stitch. But I'm like, I don't know, there's got to be an audience for it, but who are these people? So I'm glad that we all have had this experience, that we don't know who is buying all of the merch. Oh, you would love more Miko merch. Yes, because there's so many characters, aren't there, that are so underrepresented and they're just so cute. Do you know what also I think would be a good land for Disneyland Paris if they had a like Hercules themed land? Because obviously you'd have that tie to Europe, and I think that could be so much fun. And I'm like, we could do, there's so many things we could be doing. There's so many things we need to tap into. But it's interesting that, so Disneyland Paris, you've gone for the classic Lion King, because even though that came out in the 90s, it's still super popular. And then the US parks are moving more towards like Encanto and Coco, like more recent films. So it's interesting to see, like, do you stick with the classics that you know are popular, or do you take a risk on something that is newer? And that's what I always think is interesting about Frozen Ever After in Epcot. They decided to replace Maelstrom with the Frozen ride before the film had even come out, and they were not expecting the film to be a huge success. So it's a big leap to go, do you know what, we're going to completely change Maelstrom, which was a really popular ride, on this film that we don't know if it's going to kind of actually be a success. And then look at how popular it has been. Like, it's worked out perfectly. But what's amazing about Wild Frozen, like I say, the version in Disneyland Paris, that ride, I think, is so next level. And obviously part of that is because it's new, so everything's fresh. The tech is like the latest, it's next level. The animatronics make such a difference. But yeah, like, oh, it's so good. But yeah, I think they could do so much more with so many of their films. You love the Princess Garden float. Is that the same one as the Once Upon a Dream parade? I've always wondered why they don't use the bridge more. And yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah, they don't use it. And I do think you're right. That is a really beautiful float. And it's a lovely way to kind of showcase the princesses. Something I do love is in Disney World how they've now brought back a nighttime parade. And Disneyland Paris used to also have a nighttime parade. And I would love if they did that. Because seeing floats lit up at night is wonderful. And I really think that could be what, like, I think what they should do is in the daytime have like a Dream and Shine Brighter, a million splashes of colour type parade, where it's multiple times a day. You have the show in the castle hub, you get to see lots of characters, and then to see like your princesses and those characters do a nighttime parade, I think that would be wonderful, because it's so good. And like, they're just always so stunning. So I'm like, bring that back. We want more of that. Maybe we don't. Maybe I want that, but I think there's other people that would be on board with it. Oh, that's so true. In Frontierland, you could have Woody, Jessie, Pocahontas, and that would be really great, actually, because, like you said, they would fit in. And I've seen, actually, near the playground, which, apart from if you have kids, you kind of would never go in that area of Frontierland. It's kind of next to and a bit behind the Lion King theatre. And they do actually have some totem poles that are related to Pocahontas. So I love that they've got a little nod towards Pocahontas, but she would actually be a great character to meet in the park. And I'm surprised they don't have her. So I'm like, yeah, we need more characters. The more I see of Stitch, the less I like him. And I think that's what's happening, because I don't know if my dislike is catching, because a lot of people are saying, I used to like Stitch and now I don't like him as much. And I'm like, is it because I just keep talking badly about him. But I do think you're right. It's like he's overexposed at this point. And then it's just like, because you've seen him everywhere, it's like, oh, I can't deal with any more Stitch. But yeah, Ratatouille is the best. I'm obsessed with Remy. And do you know what? I'm really obsessed with Emile, because Emile really reminds me of my cat Jaffa. And I'm just obsessed that, like, every time I see Emile, I'm like, he is Jaffa. They are the same person. It's so cute. Oh, Cherry says, do you think Pirates is better in Anaheim or Paris? I love that Lisa said you're not even mentioning Disney World and like laughing, which is true, because Disney World is definitely not the best version of Pirates. And I think it's really interesting. I do think it's so hard. I love the storytelling in the Anaheim version, and it's so long. It's about a 15-minute ride. So I love when you're going through all of the caves and you're getting that extra element. But I do think Disneyland Paris, with the drops that it has and that like extra element of thrill, and you kind of get right into the story. And also, like, I do love that both of them go through a restaurant, but I think Blue Bayou has better food, but Captain Jack's is a better setting. And that's always so wonderful to see. So it's so hard, but I probably think I do like Disneyland Paris a bit more, because I just love the drops in it. I think it really adds to the thrill of it. But I do love how long the one is in Anaheim, and you have like extended storytelling, which is so cool. But yeah, like you say, Disney World, we're like, it's fine, but it's not the best Pirates out there. It's definitely not the best. But the Beacon Barrel though is an amazing bar, and that is a great addition to Magic Kingdom. It's so good. It's like the best themed bar that they've ever done. I'm obsessed with it. It's like so good. You love the villains float from Once Upon a Dream. I'd love to see Pocahontas Hunchback represented. And yes, I'd love to see more villains, because I don't think they need to be just a Halloween thing. I think they could be shown all year round, because people love Disney villains. And I'm like, especially if they bring it back a nighttime parade, you could definitely do a villain float, because it would perfectly fit. And I'm like, oh, please do that. Please do that. It would be so... Do you know what's interesting? So obviously Disneyland Paris need to do this third gate. I wonder if Villains Land is so popular in Magic Kingdom, if they would consider doing that. That's one time where I'd be like, yes, immediately copy and paste that. Just bring it to Disneyland Paris. But I also think it depends how much it would cost. Because obviously there was a lot of talk about Galaxy's Edge coming to Disneyland Paris, and that was officially announced and then kind of quietly went away. But if we had Galaxy's Edge, it would be nothing like Disney World or Anaheim's version. It would be... You'd only have Smuggler's Run. They would never, ever, ever build something that costs $500 million like Rise of the Resistance in Disneyland Paris. There's no way on earth that would happen. So it's difficult, because I kind of think with something like Galaxy's Edge, I'd rather them never do it at Disneyland Paris than do a version that's not that good. And I think the theming would look the same, but just having like one ride that's a simulator. And again, like a simulator ride is one of those divisive rides where a lot of people get sick on them. Particularly this one, when you've got a kid driving and they're ruining everything. And you're like, I feel terrible. Yeah, I think I'd rather them not do it than do just a Smuggler Run. Or they could do a unique ride. I'd be all about that. That would be quite good. But yes, Lisa agrees, more villain representation. Disney World's Pirates is bad compared to all the other parks. And yeah, it's definitely not as... Like, there's way fewer drops. And it's just like... It shows you what Pirates is meant to be. But all the other versions just do it so much better, which is so strange. Duffy was in Magic on Parade on the Mickey Fantasia float, standing with Goofy. I'm not sure how long he was there for, because I think there was a point they swapped him, I think, with Pluto. And yes, this is the thing. I'm so glad you've brought this up, because I'm like, this is triggering a memory for me. And yeah, I used to love the song for that parade. Absolutely amazing. So good. Jose said, I met Duffy at Jollywood, went at the beginning of the night and was one of the first people in the line, but something went wrong and Duffy didn't come out until at least an hour later. Duffy, this is very rude. Come on, Duffy. And it's the worst, isn't it? When you're so excited, especially because you're like first in the queue, and then you're like, wait a minute, we're waiting a really long time to meet Duffy now. What's happening? But I'm glad you did get to meet him, because that's just such a cool experience. Lisa says, would you please go on Guardians next time? I'll bring motion sickness bracelets. So here's the thing. When I go to Disney World, I take motion sickness tablets every single day, and I also wear a wristband that gives you electric shocks to try and stop motion sickness. However, there are still some things that will make me motion sick, so I have to avoid them. So even with all the precautions, there's still every chance I could feel terrible. And like I say, if I just had motion sickness, I think I would still go on it, because I think I'd go, even if I feel ill afterwards, it's probably worth it. But because I have a metaphobia, feeling sick is like the worst thing that could ever happen to me. I can't even explain to you. It's one of those things, I think, you know, like all phobias seem irrational to other people, whereas to me, I'm like, I would literally rather, like, anything else. I literally cannot cope. So the thought of going on a ride and then feeling ill, and then, like, the problem is, because I'm so scared of feeling ill, the whole day would be ruined. So this is the only reason I haven't been on it, because I'm like, I'm so scared. I'm just so scared. And this is the problem. The 3 triggers for motion sickness in people tend to be, or when it comes to theme parks, spinning rides where you have to look at a screen, like simulators, or dark rides where you can't see where you're going. And Guardians has all 3. And I think it's a real recipe for disaster. So it's one of those things. I'd either go on it and be fine, or it would be the worst day of my life. And I think the problem is also, because I'm quite nervous of going on it, in the queue I'll get myself so stressed out that I will feel ill even before going on it. And I did this with Tron, and I knew Tron would be a ride that wouldn't make me feel ill. But the first time I went on it, I got so stressed out on the off chance it might make me feel ill that I felt ill for even going on the ride. And now I go on it and I'm absolutely fine, don't need to take anything. But I know if I went on Guardians, I would feel ill before even getting on the ride, because I would stress myself out. I'm the problem. It's me. It's like, do I have motion sickness, or is it just me now? Cherry says, I think Magic Kingdom is a good part, but it's commercialised to me and lacks the charm of Disneyland and Disneyland Paris. And I do think you're right. I think charm is something that those 2 parks have massively. And I can totally see how Magic Kingdom kind of doesn't have that. And that's something I always say to people, that one of the reasons I love Disneyland Paris is the charm of it. And it's just so, so beautiful. And yeah, I think you're so, so right. There is something to that. Oh, yes, they said, when we got in the line to meet Duffy, they said it would be a 20-minute wait once the party started. Waited an hour and a half. And that's the problem. You're so right. You still had a great time, but you could have done so much more. And I think that's the problem, isn't it? Like, I always say to people, when it comes to the parties, you have to kind of prioritise what you're going to do. Because, like, when I've been to Mickey's Not So Scary, I love the idea of meeting the characters in their costumes. But the queues get so long that I end up always skipping that so that I could do the other things. And it's one of those things, like, I feel like in the parties you can't do absolutely everything in one night. Whereas something like Halloween Horror Nights, something I do like about Halloween Horror Nights, is if you buy the express pass and you mentally prepare yourself that you're going to plough through everything, you can get everything done in a night. And you'll be absolutely dead by the end of it, but you've had a great time. Whereas I do think the Disney World parties, to do everything, you'd need to go at least twice. And kind of focus, like, this time I'm going to do the characters, that time I'm going to do all of, like, the parades and the shows and the trick-or-treating and stuff like that. Because, like you say, otherwise, if you spend so many times in the queue, you just think, oh, but I've missed out on this, this, and this. And it's, yeah, it's so difficult, isn't it? Oh, my cat just sneezed. Bless you, Jennifer. I love it when, I don't know if anyone else finds this, anything a cat does, or a dog, or any animal, basically, I think it's so cute. When they eat loudly, unbelievably cute. Snoring, adorable. If a human does any of those things, I'm immediately like, where's the pillow? Put it over their head. I cannot cope. I'm really one of those people that can't cope. I think it's called misophonia, where you cannot bear noises. And I definitely have that, because noises can make me irrationally angry. Not just like I'm annoyed, but like I might have to kill someone. This might have to happen. I can't cope with this. Animals, though, they can do anything, and I just think it's the cutest thing ever. There's something weird that happens, but I think a lot of people feel the same. They're like, oh, a dog snoring is so cute. But if it was your, like, partner, you'd be like, I'm gonna have to move into a different house because I can't cope with this. It's no good. Hi Mary, it's lovely to see you. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. I love the Aristocats t-shirt. I also love that it's blue because I can't really wear black because of him, basically. Hello, Jaffa. You say hello. You say hello. Show everyone your lovely face. There you go. The fur goes everywhere. So if I have black clothes, it's just like a magnet. So I love coloured clothes. I'm like, we need more bright coloured clothes. And I hate it when you go like to a park and most of the t-shirts are either black or white. So whenever I see something that has a colour, I'm like, this is it. I need to get this. And something Disney World do a lot, which I'm obsessed with, the tie-dye, and I love tie-dye. So I'm like, all of the things in tie-dye, please. That would be fantastic. Oh, here we go. Let's have a look. Oh, can't wait for the cauliflower wings at Nomad Lounge. This sounds like something I need to try as well. And that's something, it's such a joy, isn't it, getting to eat new dishes. And that's something, again, that I think is actually going to be really, really good with Adventure Way and World of Frozen, is I tried 2 dishes while I was there. So I went to Nordic Crowns, which I really enjoyed. It's super, super, super Scandinavian. So I had vegan meatballs with mashed potato, vegetables, and then this amazing creamy dill sauce. It was really, really good. Loved it. And then I also tried one of the hot dogs. The hot dog was actually really good. It was stressful though, because it tasted too real. And then if you've watched the vlog, there's a very awkward moment where I tried to describe how I was going to work out whether it was a vegan sausage or not. But basically I was talking about, I'm trying to sneak a look at people's sausages to see if they're bigger. And it sounded weird. It sounded weird. When I was editing it back, I was like, I haven't explained this very well. But I was literally like, not even like subtly, I was like peeking inside other people's hot dogs to see if it was the same type of hot dog, and it wasn't. So I'm sure I did have the vegan version, but it was so realistic. And the thing that I was interested in is they said that it was supposed to be a curry flavoured bun, which I thought sounded amazing. The bun had no flavour whatsoever. It just tasted of bread, and it was nice. It was actually a nice bun, but it was not a curry flavoured bun, which I would have liked. But yeah, that was really realistic. And I'm one of these people. I don't know if I've like leveled up as a vegan. When like now, if things are too realistic, I don't like them because it freaks me out. Because I'm always paranoid that they've given me actual meat, and I'm like, oh no, I can't cope with this. So I kind of like it when things taste a bit different, so I know it's definitely vegan. I just can't cope. But what's really nice is there's still multiple dishes that I didn't have time to try. I'm really excited for this potato pancake that is topped. That sounds amazing. There was also another hot dog. There was a bread bowl with the famous Disneyland Paris chili in it, which I think in the winter months is going to be lovely. Then you also have... I'll just peek over the top of the cat. They also have, obviously, Regal View. We've got the 3-course meal. Although I have to say, the vegan dessert is... a fruit salad, which I just think for €100 meal is an absolute cop-out. I just think that's so unacceptable. And I do also think Nordic Crowns, because that is a quick service meal, but it comes with a dessert. And if you're vegan, you get the vegan almond magnum, which I love. Very, very tasty. Great. But what I think is really funny is they've obviously gone, right, we need to do a vegan option. What should we do? So they've gone, right, yep, we can do the sauce. We get the vegan meatballs instead. Brilliant. We can do perfect. Wonderful. And then they've gone, right, we're going to make this dessert. And someone's like, what about the vegan dessert? And they're like, what? Just get out of the freezer. We have to It's almost like they've panicked and they forgot to make a vegan dessert. And they've gone, just get the vegan magnum. So I would like it if they were to do like actual desserts. That would be my only criticism. But I actually think it's so nice to have multiple new options to try, which are just always so exciting. So I'm just like, oh. Although we need more vegan snacks. That's something Disneyland Paris really lack. So if they could improve that, that would be my one thing I would like to say. Jose said, I work in food and beverage, and it's a shame how much meat is thrown away in the theme parks. But like you say, when I'm there, I'd rather not think about that. I once worked at an event we made food for about 150 people. Oh, I'm going to scroll. The buses got stuck in traffic, so we had to throw away all the prepared food because they ate on the way because of the traffic. The food was brought to a farm to feed the pigs, but I felt so bad to throw away all that food. And that is something that I think is always a concern to people. And weirdly, years ago, I was writing articles for websites all about Disney. So like I was like a freelancer. And someone had contacted me about ways that Disney World was trying to be better for the environment. And what I love is at Disney World, all of the food waste is put into this like state of the art, like I don't really know what to call it. There was a word, but it basically is able to convert food waste into energy, and that then goes towards powering the parks. It doesn't create like a huge, like they can't run the parks off of just that, obviously. But I thought that was fantastic because the portion sizes being so big in the US, you do worry about food waste. But when you know, okay, they can use that. I think you're so right. It's different if you're a vegan when you're thinking about like an animal's been killed and then essentially for no reason you just think, oh, I can't cope. And I think that's the thing. I don't know if anyone else experienced this. When I first went vegan, for about the first year and a half, it's just so intense because you're just like, I found out all this information and I can't believe this is what's happening. And you kind of talk to everyone like, can you believe they're doing this? And obviously other people don't really want to hear it. And it becomes really heavy. And like mentally, you're just like, I can't cope thinking about this. And even now, like every now and then I'll see something and I'm like, oh, I can't cope with this. But it's almost like you sometimes have to, like you were saying, like you have to kind of put it to the back of your mind because otherwise I think it would be impossible to live day to day because you're just like, there's so much suffering going on. This, what can I do about it? And I can do my part, but it's not enough. And it's so difficult. But yeah, I did think it was really interesting how Disney World do use food waste, and also like cooking oil is used to run the buses. Which I think is amazing. So I do think it's a really clever system. And like we should, in general, I think it would be good if we work towards like how can we use waste to do things so that it doesn't just end up waste, if that makes sense. I think that's really, really clever. So I love that they have kind of looked into that, which is great. Rob said, if Star Wars is coming to Disneyland Paris, it must have a new original ride. I agree. What would you like to see as the next land around the new lake after Lion King? And the thing I've always said is I would love to see more French things. So, I mean, they could even, I would be happy just to have a French land. And then, you know, you could have the Aristocats there. You could, you know, bump into Quasimodo, Beauty and the Beast has a ride. Like, I think it would be wonderful to have more ties to France. Because if you're in France, I don't know why they don't do more with IPs set in France. Because I think they're missing a trick. And, like, I think people would absolutely love that. But I think if they were like, okay, we're not gonna do that. We're not taking your suggestion on board. I think it would be really. I'm trying to think which films. But I do think if you did something like Hercules, like a tie to another European country, I think that could be really fun. And I think that's just such a fun film. I think Hades is hilarious. I know he's a villain, so he might not get as much attention. But I do think that would be really, really fun. Or I do think I love Coco. I love that film. I love it. I think visually it's stunning. And I think that could be a really beautiful land, particularly at night, I think, where they could have all the colours and everything lit up. And I think that could be really, really cute. And it would be nice to have something like that, which is kind of unique to Disneyland Paris, because that is something that's going to be great about The Lion King, is that there is no other Lion King land in the world. It doesn't really make sense in Disneyland Paris if we're honest, because when it's -5 outside, you don't very much feel like you're in the African savannah. So I do think it's going to be interesting in winter. To me, Lion King Land should have been in Animal Kingdom. It's like a no-brainer. I'm like, that would have been the perfect fit. But I am really excited to see how they do it, because they've obviously thought about this. They've obviously thought about how are we going to cope when it's very cold to make people feel like this is real. So I'm interested to see what they do. But I'd like to see France, really. But if not, I would like Coco, or something to do with like Hercules or other European-based films, which I think would be quite cool. But is there any lands or like characters specifically you would like to see? Because I'm like, I do love knowing what everyone else would like. Because that's the thing, isn't it? Like we were saying, like everyone has their favourite things. The only thing I don't want them to do is a Stitch land. I've already heard they might be doing a Stitch hotel, and I'm like, absolutely don't start. That's ridiculous. Imagine not being able to get away from him. You go back to your room and you have to lie there and he's just staring at you on the wall. You think, oh God, I can't go. So I'm like, please don't do that. And it makes 100% sense that Disneyland Paris want to do that. But I'm like, I don't think I can cope. And my whole spiel of like, I don't think there's any bad hotel at Disneyland Paris. That might change. Just my personal vendetta against Stitch. I'll be like, I would never recommend this hotel. But to be fair, with how much merchandise they have, I'm surprised that they don't have a character dining mill. Like, there's so many more things they could do with Stitch in the parks, but they've just gone, we're just going to do merchandise. And that's what I think is really weird. So when they've said they're doing potentially that's a thing they're thinking about, it's one of the ideas for the new hotel. I'm like, it totally makes sense. Don't do it. But I get why you're doing it, because it's weird that you're making out that Stitch is so popular, but then you don't really have, apart from the merchandise and like the meet and greet with him, there's not much of him represented, which is weird. But I don't want to give them ideas of doing more Stitch, because we're not doing that. Can you imagine if they did a Stitch land though? Oh, it'd be terrible. It'd be a nightmare. You'd never be able to get away from Stitch. An Angel, who I think is a character that people, unless you've seen Leo, I don't think people know who Angel is. And there's loads of Angel merch, and I think people, like a lot of people going to Disneyland Paris just like, I don't even have a clue who that is. I think they just think that Disneyland Paris have made a fun pink version of Stitch. And I'm like, nope, she's a whole character. Hi Kate, lovely to see you. How are you doing? I'm still laughing about the whole Stitch thing. He's overexposed. We sound like his PR team brainstorming a marketing strategy after a bad movie. It's so fun. That's the thing, isn't it? We're like, oh God, right, if we've got to have him in the park, we've got to like do a character dining mill because it's just ridiculous. it's so true. And what made me laugh is when the film came out and they had like animatronic Stitch in a driving his own little car going into cinemas, and I was like, on the one hand I think that's brilliant, on the other hand if I go to the cinema and he drives up to me, I'm booting it out the door. He's got to go. Oh no, I can't. I've seen too much of you, Stitch. Please don't come near me. I'm getting a restraining order because this is too much. This is such a good point. Jose said, for me, it's screens. I don't have the best time at Universal Orlando because of it, but Guardians was great. So that's really interesting to hear, because I'm the same with you. Universal has too many simulators, and it's like, I skip over most of them because some of them don't necessarily make me feel ill, but they make me feel a bit like, and I know if I was to go on another one, then I would feel ill. Some rides, like The Simpsons, forget about it. Horrendous. I feel like even people that don't get motion sick start feeling motion sick on that ride. It's just awful. But I'm the same. Like, there's a lot of rides I skip at Universal because it's so many screens. But I'm really glad to hear that you found Guardians great and it didn't bother you at all. So that is really handy to know, because I'm like, there is hope. There is hope. Kate says, I'd love to go on Tron one day. Is it as fast as it looks? And I would say, I think the launch is as fast as it looks, but it's also the best part. It's absolutely exhilarating. It's thrilling. And it's one of those things that it's fast, but also once you're, like, the launch bit is fast, but once you're actually outside, it feels like you're flying almost. And it's not as fast, which is great. But I think it's really funny because most people do what you're meant to do and they hold on like they're on a motorbike. And there's like two armrests, one that's close to you, which I assume is for children or shorter people, and one that's further forward. And some people, even if they're shorter, they'll do it so they're just like leaning really over. I would love to be able to watch myself outside myself, because when I go on it, I sit upright and put my arms out like I'm the crow flying around. It's absolutely insane. But I think people don't realise the backrest doesn't hold you in. It's just to make you comfortable. So you can actually sit upright. If you don't like that position, you can sit upright and just pretend you're flying around like I do. Because I literally feel like I'm flying and I love it. But I'm like, I would love to be the person on the ground watching, and they've got everyone on their motorbike like normal, And they're like, what is she doing? And I'm just like, I'm the crow. It's so weird, but I do love it. But yeah, I think you will love Tron. I'm obsessed with Tron. I, multiple times a week, will watch YouTube videos on the ride just because I love it and I miss it so much. Yep, Jose has said the same thing. For me, it's only the start that's fast, and when you go inside, it slows down a bit. And that's so true. I feel like the launch is really, really quick, and then when you're going around the outside bit, it's still fast, but it feels like you're kind of flying. And then once you get inside, it is definitely slower than the launch. So yeah, I think you will absolutely love it. It's so good. Kate says, I think Jaffa just gave me a slow blink and now we're best friends. Isn't it the best thing ever when a cat blinks at you? Because you just go, that's it. We are pals now. It's so cute, isn't it? And sometimes I'll sit there and I'll just slow blink at him until he does it back. And I think it sometimes gets to the point like she's not going to stop, is she? I'm just going to have to slow blink or else she's never going to stop. She can sit there like blinking at me all day. Which is so cute. And it's funny because my other cat like never blinks. And not just like doesn't slow blink, like never blinks. And it's really funny because she reminds me of an owl. And you look at her and you're like, well, why do you never blink? It's really strange. It's crazy. Oh, let's have a little look. I would love to see a nightly celebration of, oh gosh, this is when I'm going to mispronounce everything. Dias de los Muertos. This is why I feel bad. But I 100% you know what I mean. The Day of the Dead. The Day of the Dead in Coco. Because how stunning would that be? I genuinely think it would be beautiful. And I'm obsessed with the film Coco. I remember the year it came out on DVD just before Christmas. And I got it on Christmas Day. I made the family watch Coco. And what was mad though is beforehand I said to everyone, look, this is a really great film, but it is very sad. So I know we're watching it on Christmas, just so you're all aware. And then it gets to the bit where Mama Coco starts singing along to Remember Me. I'm sobbing. I can't control myself. Absolutely weeping. Everyone else just sat there. And I'm like, are you dead inside? What's wrong with you people? What's happening here? How is that not affecting you? What's going on? But yeah, I love Coco. Anything Coco I will be all about. It's one of the like more recent films that I've really connected with because I feel like I enjoyed Encanto, but it's not a film where I'm like, I want to get all of the merchandise, I want to watch it multiple times. Whereas Coco, I will watch it over and over again. I just love Coco so much. And my cat is called Coco. I've got Jaffa and Coco, so I'm like, oh, Coco. But yeah, it's just, it's such a cute film. Lisa says, bring Oliver and company to Hollywood Studios. That would be so good. And the Aristocats to Epcot. That would be amazing because they would totally fit in the France Pavilion. Lisa says, new land, not Stitch. That's just messy. I'm very excited for the Americas in Animal Kingdom. And yeah, I think that's going to be an amazing part of the party. It looks so beautiful from the artwork that they've shared. So I think that's going to be wonderful. But yeah, Stitch would be chaotic, wouldn't it? And I'm like, don't. And it's interesting because obviously Disney World, you did have the Stitch kind of attraction, the like Great Escape thing, which before was Alien Encounter, which is one of the best things I've ever been on, and I'm obsessed with it. But the idea of being strapped in and you can't get away from Stitch, I think might have even been more horrifying than Alien Encounter because you can't get away from him. But I loved Alien Encounter. Also, I'd like to point out, on our last live stream, we were talking about, because obviously Josh D'Amaro has now taken over as the CEO of Disney, and one of the first things he said was, I'm ripping up the plans for Villains Land because we've got to do it better. And we were talking about that and we were also excited because there'd been a lot of talk about he'd kind of gone to Epic Universe and seen how successful and popular that Dark Universe has been and how people are loving the real like leaning into horror and villains and stuff like that. So we were all like, oh, they're going to make it darker, scarier. No, we're not. So apparently the update is he's ripped up the plans and he wants to make it more family friendly. And I'm like, don't kill Villains Land before it's even started. Do not make your first job as CEO to ruin Villains Land. Because I'm not even kidding. If I wait 10 years for Villains Land and it's not any good, I'm going to be absolutely livid. Because I've always wanted stuff to do with villains. In fact, when the pandemic happened, there was an online course that they did. It was for kids because it was like, because they're not in school, Disney did this like Imagineering course for kids. But I thought, I'm going to do it. And it was all about designing your own land. And then it was stuff like what tiles would you use on the floor? What scent would you have pumped in? What doorknobs would you use? Like, so it's really kind of getting you to fully envision a land. And I built a villain's land and it was incredible. So if they want to come to me, I've already got some awesome plans. It's all drawn out. But I'm like, if he makes it more family friendly and takes all of the scary away, like villains are meant to be villainous. They're not meant to be family friendly. They're not meant to be child friendly. That's why they're villains. And also, like, we all grew up seeing villains. None of us are... We're all fine. Kind of. We've survived. I think kids could be okay with villains. So, I'm like, Josh, don't ruin this for everyone because you want to shake your ground. This is your first choice of, like, ruining it. Don't do it. Yep. Rob said, I love the idea of Coco. The rumours are that there will be Avatar or Moana. I like that idea. We would keep Avatar for the third gate and also a Disney Villains Land. And yeah, I agree. I think if they're going to do an Avatar, it would be good to do in a third gate. And it's like we were talking earlier. Is it good when they have a land that is super popular and successful that they then expand it into other parks? Because we know that Avatar is also going to Disneyland. Or would we prefer them to do original stuff? And it's difficult, isn't it? Because obviously you can't assume that everyone is going to be able to get to all of the different Disney parks in the world. And it's the dream for, like, Disney fans. But it's also, a lot of people, it would just never be the reality. So you don't want people to, like, miss out on things. But sometimes it's nice if they can kind of do a mixture, like you're saying. If you're doing, like, something that's new and then something that's popular, that can work really, really well. But yeah, I think that would be really cool. It would be so, so good. We've given Jose nightmares, which is not fun. It's just like, oh no, this is no good. But yeah, I think it's just, I think it's a really interesting time. I think it's a very exciting time, obviously, for Disneyland Paris, with tomorrow being the actual launch of Disney Adventure World that we're going to have to get used to saying. I'm quite nervous about how it's going to be for the first few months because I think it's just going to be so, so busy. But after the business dies down, it's absolutely stunning. I actually think that World of Frozen is the most beautiful land they will have in Disneyland Paris now, because it's just absolutely beautiful. And at night as well, like I said, when the sun's setting, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So I think people are going to really, really, really enjoy it. And yeah, I just can't wait to hear people's thoughts when they've experienced it. But yeah, like I said, the only thing I'm worried about is the fact that it's quite small. So the first couple of months, I think there are going to be really, really long queues, and that could take away from people's experience of it. Because obviously, if you're like queuing just to get into the land, and then you have to queue for the shop, then you have to queue for the ride, I think it will feel like too much queuing. But hopefully that will then die down, and people can just experience it as it is. And like I said, I think having a brand new nighttime spectacular is fantastic, and I think any way you view it from is a great view. Don't think there's any bad view for it. Tangled at night is supreme. Like, definitely do it at night. It's next level amazing. It's so cute. Love that there's so many dining locations. Obsessed with the music in World of Frozen. Like, unbelievable. And the merch, come prepared, because you're going to have to buy it all, because it's just so good. Rob said, this is the reason I booked a trip in September. Really looking forward to it. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, hopefully after the summer rush, it will start to calm down and people can get to experience World of Frozen properly without all the queues, which I think would be amazing. And like, yeah, I was just so, so lucky. And like I said, I feel kind of guilty that my preview was the one preview where there wasn't these ridiculous queues. And yeah, it kind of feels like Jeff's making an appearance again. You feel bad. You feel bad that you've had this lovely time and other people necessarily haven't. And I feel bad that people going soon are going to have long queues. But then I suppose also we do know, like, when a land first opens, there will be long queues. So it's not like people aren't prepared, if you know what I mean. Like, we all know that when you go, that could be something that happens. So I just hope that people's experience isn't too impacted by it. But I just love the ride as well. It's definitely better than the Epcot ride. I was so, because I kind of was thinking, if the queue is really long to go on the ride, it's not a problem because I've been on it. But I was so glad I went on it, and I thought it was just next level. It was so good. Oh, it's lovely, lovely, lovely to speak to you, Jose. Thank you so much, Jose. All this evening, I've been hopefully pronouncing it properly, and then in the last second, I've ruined it all. So I'm so sorry, Jose, but it's lovely, lovely, lovely to have you here. And thank you so much for chatting, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely sleep. And yes, Lisa, you're also going in September to Disney World. I think September is always a great month for any of the Disney parks, really, because it's typically quieter, which is obviously always really good. And you have the start of spooky season. Like, everything about September, I think, is amazing. I'm obsessed with them. Absolutely obsessed. But I can't believe I've just clocked the time. We've been here for 3 hours and 19 minutes. This is something I love about the live stream. It goes so quickly, and I never ever realise the time. So I'm so sorry to talk for so long, but it's just such a joy getting to chat to everyone and hear your thoughts on everything. And it's always so interesting. We always have such great discussions, and it's just so fun to chat to Disney with Disney people. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm getting up at 5:30 tomorrow morning because I'm going to some sort of like journaling meditation thing on the beach at 7 a.m. So that's what I'm doing tomorrow morning. I'm going to take my nice big Sorcerer Mickey fleece with me because it's very warm. So that should be so good. And then I'm going to be eagerly keeping an eye on social media because tomorrow will be the official launch, the grand opening of Adventure World, which is just going to be so exciting to see how it all goes. But yes, so thank you so much for joining. I cannot wait to chat next month. It will be back to a Sunday next month, the last Sunday of the month, which is always so exciting. And also what's great is it'll be just a few days before the next Most Magical Meetup, which is happening in May in London, which is so exciting. I can't believe how quickly that's coming around. But we're going to go to the Pixar experience, which I think is going to be great. And yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful April. There's going to be obviously loads of Disneyland Paris content coming out because I'm going to have dining reviews. I also went to Waltz to try their new menu. I went to the sports bar to try the menu. There's going to be vlogs of the trip. There's going to be videos all about the Moxie Hotel, how to get from Charles de Gaulle to Val d'Europe. There's going to be loads of different content coming out very, very soon. So hopefully that should be really exciting. So thank you so much for joining. It's just been absolutely wonderful. Oh, Tracy, I love that you loved this. And like you say, it's like chatting with your friends, isn't it? We're just all chatting about the thing we love. And I absolutely love that. So thank you so much for joining us. And thank you so much, Rob. Thank you so much, Lisa. And I will see you all very, very soon. And yeah, we'll do even more chatting, even more Disney talk. And in a whole new month, we'll be able to know what everyone's been saying about World of Frozen and Adventure Way. So I can't wait to chat all about that. But until next time, have a most magical day. I never finished the live stream saying that. Why don't I do that? Ridiculous. We should always do that. Thank you so much. See you soon.